Good morning, good afternoon, hello, no matter where you are in the world. And thanks for joining this Retired and Living the Dream live stream on a Sunday. Thanks very much. So, Retired and Living the Dream, and this is your chance to ask any questions you want. As I say, I've got quite a number of things to talk about today, and let's hope we have an interesting conversation. Usually the last couple of hours at least, sometimes 3. I think the longest I've ever done this is 4 hours, but it all depends on the questions that people want to ask. And I've been in Thailand now for 12 and a half years, so I know a lot of things that go on here, and I'm a mind of information, and I like to help people either relocate or ask any questions, and I can tell you any of the answers that you want. And I don't give you any bullshit. It is open and honest, and what you see is what you get. So there's me cup, Retired and Living the Dream. So we're coming up to 3 o'clock now, so away we go. So if anybody has got any comments and things like that, just put a capital Q at the beginning of it, and then I can see that it's a question, and then I can answer it. If I miss your question, because usually I give long-winded answers to the questions that people ask, your question might disappear up as it goes. I've got comments on the right-hand side. So if I do miss it, I apologize. Just rewrite the question, and I'll get to it, because I answer anything and everything that comes along my way. So, right, let's have a look at this one. Okay. Pooping while standing. Hi, Les. Hi. Angus Stewart. Hello, Les, from a beautiful day in Scotland. Scotland is nice any time of the year. I like Scotland. I've been there many times, and I've had many happy holidays in Scotland. But yes, on the whole, it is generally a little bit cooler in Scotland. What's it today? Is it beautiful, nice and sunny, but cool? Watching from Wangborn, Peter. Wangborn's is nice. Me and the wife went there the other day. My favourite meal from there is the chicken with mozzarella. I have that 9 times out of 10 I go there. And the last time we went to Wangborn, I had a pizza. It was okay. It was nothing special, but sometimes when you got that feeling that you want to eat something nice or different, and the pizza, but sadly it didn't hit the spot. It was okay, but nothing special. So today, what we're going to talk, there's a number of things that we're going to talk about, and we'll start off with 14 degrees, blue skies on the Isle of Skye. That's not too bad, is it? 14. My wife would be having a thermals on and everything else here. Hello, Les. Hot and sunny in the UK for a change. Yeah, but apparently you've had quite a good week, haven't you, in the UK, which is nice. Sadly, I missed it last year. I went there for 3 months, and apparently it was one of the worst summers in about the last 15 years or something like that. So. But look at this, blue skies. It was thunder and lightning this morning, but we've got blue skies, scattered clouds type of thing. It's still hot. I've got the fan in the background blowing the cool air onto me, so we're still in hot and sticky season. But the past couple of days we've had a bit of rain, bit of thunder, but we're approaching the rainy season. But after not having rain for 9 months, you don't actually mind it. And it's actually, I sit out on the veranda and watch it, and it's very good, because I love thunder and lightning anyway, and the thunderstorms here are always very good. And not just recently though. I mean, saying thunderstorms are good, the good and the bad. There's been 2 things on my wife's Facebook profile, because we've just come back from her village up in Karat, and there's on one farm the cows sheltered underneath a tree, and the tree was struck by lightning, and 13 cows were killed by a lightning strike. And yesterday another 5 cows were killed in their cow shed, because the lightning hit the shed on the farm, and it went down to the ground and it killed 5 cows. So you know, it's quite deadly for cows in the open fields and things like that. Good morning, Les from the UK. We're saving to retire to Thailand. Yeah, well, hurry up with that, and hope it comes quicker than you think. I mean, I'm going to go through some of the prices as well with regard to living in Thailand, because I've had a lot of things going on in the past week or 2 weeks, helping people sort of make the final decision as to how much they actually need to come and live in Thailand. And I'll go through that a little bit later on, but you don't need a lot. Retired on the beach, we're getting your morning rain here in Koh Samui. Oh, Koh Samui. We're going there for Christmas, Koh Samui. My wife's never been to Koh Samui. I've been there twice and like it. So we're going there for Christmas for Koh Samui. And then I think we're going to spend New Year's in Krabi. We still haven't booked that hotel yet, but we've certainly booked the hotel in Koh Samui. I'm looking forward to that. I see Rex. Good morning. Good morning. Thanks very much for joining. Yeah, so again, lots of things to talk. I've had a busy week this week, really. Well, I have a busy week. Oh, hang on. It went off. Big black screen there for a second. Yeah, we went to the wife's farm for a week. And I love going up to the farm because it's totally different to living down here. Although the wife, she had to get up at 4:45 every morning because she's sort of expected help out on the farm. So she was up at 4:45 every morning, and I laid in bed until about 8 o'clock, sat in the veranda with the dogs, and it's just chill out for me there. There's nothing I can do really on the farm, but that's when I have the time to catch up myself, and I did a few things on the videos and the internet and stuff like that. So yeah, it's a totally different lifestyle. I've just done a video in my wife's birthday when we were up at the farm. So the family of me, the wife, and her mother and her niece went out to the White Temple near CQ, and then we went to the river. That was fun, watching the kids playing in the river. It just took me back to when I was a child, playing in the river and that. But we didn't have the rubber rings when we were played in the river or Smotherley near the reservoir. And it's just nice to see people enjoying themselves, isn't it? Laughing and joking. How many people can say they see people laughing and joking now and having a good time in the UK? Good morning, Les. Why background is so dark? Is it dark? Oh, hang on a minute. Let's have a look, see what I could do with this then. Is that any better? That's a bit brighter. There we go. I can play about with the settings on the camera a bit, but it just looks okay to me on the camera. That looks a little bit washed out, but I don't know. What's the picture? Is that any better? A little bit better, the picture? Let's hope so anyway, fingers up. But it looks a bit washed out to me, that. Background okay for me? Okay. I'll just reduce that brightness a bit because it just appears to be a little bit. That's better. It looks better because I'm looking at me picture on the internet, and for me that looks okay. The colors, there's the blue skies up the top, a little bit of white clouds, everything seems to be okay. I'm sorry if it's dark, but I can only see what I can see, and what I can see in the video, it looks okay. So okay, let's get the ball rolling. Here we go. It is 7 minutes past 3. So first of all, I'm going to talk about medical insurance. Medical insurance is always a good topic to talk about. And my insurance is up for renewal at the end of, well, 1st of June is the day that I've got to renew my insurance. Well, this year I'm 65. But do you know, sometimes when you have a bit of good luck and sometimes you have a bit of bad luck, well, for me, medical insurance, it certainly, I landed in the good luck pile. Because at the end of the day, I'm 65 in July, but my premiums are still at the age of 64 because my premiums are taken out 1 month before my birthday. So I'm still technically I am officially 64, not technically. So I still get charged at the rate of a 64-year-old. So thankfully, as a 64-year-old, when I get to 65, my premiums do go up. And I tried to get a photocopy of this on the printer before I ran out of time. I couldn't find out how to scan the document on the printer. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to show this, and you might be able to see it. I don't know. But that's with the Pattaya Insurance Centre, and this is through the Pattaya Expats Club, and I've had this through the Pattaya Expats Club for a number of years now, and I'll just go through it. My premium for 64-year-old with no pre-existing conditions, and I've been covered with Pacific Cross for quite a number of years now. My insurance premium for this year, for again 700,000 bahts worth of cover. Now I know there's going to be plenty of people say 700,000 baht isn't a lot to get covered for, but it's better than nothing, isn't it? I can find the 24,885 baht every year to pay for 700,000 bahts worth of cover. Now when I get to 65, the premium goes up, and we'll go on about that in a minute. But at the minute, for me, 64-year-old, it's affordable. Now that covers me for 700,000 baht. I think that's enough for me because I'm on no medication. I've got no illnesses. I've got nothing really wrong with me. So apart from being a little bit overweight, but I'll come on to that later on as well. There's nothing really wrong with me. I did have high blood pressure when I was 118 kilo. And let's have a look. This is me at 118 kilos. So I'm nowhere near that now because I'm down to 104 because I'm on the keto diet. Now my blood pressure for this was again quite high, so I had to do something about it. So I went on the keto diet, and my lowest that I ever got to was 97, but I hover around 100, 105. But again, I'll come on to that later. But this is why I don't mind having my cheaper medical insurance, because I've done something about it. I knew I was overweight, so I needed to do something about it. And I know being overweight heightens your blood pressure, risk of diabetes and things like that. So when you get older, you need to do something about it. And I did something about it, and it worked for me. So again, my premium for this year, from the ages of 61 to 65, this is how much the premium is with Pacific Cross, 24,885 baht a year. So that's how much it's going to cost me. And if you want 1 million bahts worth of cover, 37,460 it'll cost you. And if you want 1.5 million bahts worth of cover, that's 46,000. So basically, to double your cost, to double your insurance cover, it's almost half the same cost again. So, and there's other ways to look upon it, and I look at it maybe in a different way, is that I can pay the lowest premium, and then if I have to top it up, I'll have a little bit of money in savings that I can top it up with, like my daily medical expenses or my stays in hospital. And I'll give you an example for this. For if you want to stay in a hospital room, on my cover, they give you 3,500 a day. And if you wanted the 1 million bahts worth of cover, they'll pay you up to 4,500 baht a day. Now, for me, if I wanted to better my stay, if you like, into the middle range, I'd give them 1,000 baht a day, because they're already paying the lion's share of 3,500. So why do I need to pay for that insurance premium when, at the end of the day, I'm saving 10,000 or about 10,000 baht a year? I'll pay the extra one if I'm in hospital. So there's ways and means of looking about it, and I think I've got quite a clever way to look, and I look upon it frugally and what I need and what I don't need. So what's it going to go up to when I'm 65, which is next year? So obviously sometimes it might go up by rate of inflation, but the cost of my insurance this year was exactly the same as it was last year. So it hasn't gone up in price. with like inflation, things like that. So when I get to 65, actually, I've just reread it. From 61 to 65, so I'm even covered next year at 65. So it'll be the same premium next year at 65. So from the ages of 66 to 70 years old, it only goes up another 7,000 baht. So that's 30,022 baht for somebody aged 66 to 70-year-olds with no pre-existing conditions and is feeling okay and is on no medications. And that's for 700,000 bahts worth of cover. And okay, from 71 to 75 years old, it's 40,297 for 700,000 bahts worth of cover, which I think is pretty good. But I would suggest everybody needs medical insurance if they come to live over here in Thailand. For me, it'd be silly not to have anything with regard to not having any cover at all. So you've got to look at this type of thing, that we're all getting old, so we're all going to suffer a little bit of illness or injuries or stuff like that. So be reactive as a pro. Is it reactive as a pro-reactive? Anyway, just think about it. You know, it's worth paying the money to do it. But if you're over 65 with Pacific Cross, it does say here that you do have to have a probation period of 6 months or so. Let me try to find out where exactly it says it. No, I can't find, but I've read it somewhere. Oh yeah, there we go. Members aged between 65 and 75 can apply with a physician's examination report, PE report. So if there's nothing wrong with it, if you're a fit 65-year-old and you want to get cover, then you could go for a physical examination. And it's not, you know, it's not super invasive type of thing. Obviously, insurance have to cover themselves. It's no good, you know, having an illness and then at 65-year-old thinking, oh, I'm going to get insured because I know I'm ill. So they want to cover their risk also. So I've been with Pacific Cross for a number of years, and anybody that wants to ask for the details, Pacific Cross, let me have a look. I'll put my email address on here in a minute. Just send me an email and send me an email, lesliepearson58yahoo.com, and I'll give you the details of the person to contact for the Pacific Cross. Now, I get no commission from this. I get no kickbacks from this. It's just been helpful, and it's through the Expats Club in Pattaya. And because there's a lot of members there, you get quite a good deal. And I've never had any complaints from it. And again, the number of people that I know that's been with Pacific Cross haven't had a bad deal with it. It's like everything else. You hope that you don't need the medical insurance. And some people say it didn't pay out with this, it didn't pay out from that. And I've talked to a couple of people saying, I won't tell them about this and I won't tell them about what medication I'm on or whatever. They're not stupid. They're not daft. If you suffer from an illness or an accident or something like that and you go into hospital, they're gonna look at their risk, and find out that you may have been on medication, you haven't declared it, then they're going to refuse to pay. So you've got to bite the bullet, and if you've got something wrong with you, find out what the limitations are, see what they're going to cover and what not going to cover, and then go from there. So my advice is take out medical insurance as soon as you can, because if you do it as soon as you can, then you've been covered for a longer period, and then there's nothing to worry about if and when you need to make a claim. And touch wood, I haven't got any wood around, this is all plastic. I've never needed it, and hopefully I never will need it. So okay, I'll have a quick read through your comments now. 700k would not cover a quadruple heart bypass. Well, let's hope. What if I don't need a quadruple heart bypass? You know, these people who say it won't cover this, it won't cover that, it won't cover the other. Exactly, but that's the risk I'm taking, isn't it? If I want to pay, you know, 1.5 million, would that cover a quadruple bypass? What if I don't need it? You know, let's have a look at the glass half full. I don't suffer from anything at the minute. I don't have heart problems. I don't have high blood pressure. I don't have diabetes. I don't drink, I don't smoke. So actually, you tick all of them boxes off, and I'm quite a healthy guy, even though I'm a little bit overweight. So you don't have to, you could die of being knocked over by a bus, and you wouldn't need a quadruple heart bypass, would you? It's up to you. If you want to cover every eventuality, well, then you're going to pay the price, aren't you? Down the allotment, enjoying the glorious sunshine. Enjoy, grumpy guy. Allotments, I love allotments. A man in his shed. Proactive, lads, that's the word. Yeah, be proactive as opposed to reactive. Fantastic, that's the word I was looking for. Retired on the beach, my Bitcoin is my insurance. Exactly, some people have the 800,000 baht in the bank, and that's their insurance. Some people have a property that they rent out in their home country. That's their insurance policy. As long as you've got some sort of backup plan, because let's face it, we can all have an accident, can't we? And if you need it, sat in the hospital isn't the time to argue over it, is it? Oh, pardon me. So that was sort of a long-winded exercise, wasn't it? So like the PR girls at Uden Government Hospital Foreign Customer Office, who deal with billing insurances companies direct, they told me Pacific Cross was one of the worst for wanting about preconditions. There might be one of the worst. There might be one of the worst for trying to find pre-existing conditions, but as an insurance company, as a person in your own mind, would you insure somebody that had previous health conditions? The premiums for Pacific Cross, I think, comparison to AXA insurance and one or two other insurances, is far cheaper than the others. And I think any of the other insurance companies would also be the same with regard to if you have a pre-existing condition and you don't tell them, then you're going to pay the price. But insurance is only as good as if you need to claim on it. And I haven't heard many bad examples of Pacific Cross. I've heard one or two, don't get me wrong, but when I asked the question, oh yeah, I had this, but I didn't tell him I was taking high blood pressure tablets because he had a stroke. So they found out, and because when they took his blood pressure, when he went in, his blood pressure was high, so they did some more investigation, and because his blood pressure was high, because he hadn't been taking his medication, that's why he had a stroke. And they failed to pay for his coverage because he didn't tell them he was on blood pressure tablets. If you lie over here, you can get found out. So that's why I'm saying be honest. At least be honest with your own conditions, and just don't try to fob the insurance companies off, because they won't let you win. They're always going to win. They have the power of the pen, don't they? Yes, we'll pay the claim, or no, we won't pay the claim. Again, I've had 10 years with the Pacific Cross, and there's horror stories no matter what insurances you have. Car insurance, motorbike insurance, health insurance, dentist insurance, any insurance. There's always somebody who's going to query what you're claiming for. Bill Simpson, hello Bill. Just arrived, how are you? Employee, fantastic. We've just been out looking at motorbiking sidecars for a friend of mine who's looking for a motorbike and a sidecar. So here's a question to ask people on here, and you can leave your comments, yes and no. The guy that we were looking for is undecided whether to buy a second-hand motorbike. Well, he's looking for a motorbike and sidecar, but let's just start off with a motorbike, because you can add a sidecar to it at any time. How many people here would buy a second-hand motorbike compared to a new one? So the ones that we were looking at about 40,000 kilometers on, about 8 or 9 years old, and there were about 30,000 baht for a 7 or 8 year old motorbike with 40,000 K on it. Or would you spend 70,000 on a brand spanking new motorbike? So there's 30,000 baht, 40,000 bahts worth of difference, really. And I said go with a new one, because then you know its history. And if you're buying a second-hand motorbike, you'd never know its history, and they have been rented out as well. So how many people would buy a new one, and how many people would buy an old one? So just put it in your comments, new or old. and then I'll count them up later on, and I'll give him the example of as to how many people will buy new and how many people will buy old. Let's go. Question, Les, would you say if I kept £20,000 to one side for health insurance would be sufficient? Yeah, that's about £1 million. It's about £1 million. Yeah, £20,000. £20,000. But again, it depends. It depends. It depends what your illness is going to be and whether you suffer from illnesses and things like that. If you're a pretty healthy guy, then yeah, it's £20,000 should be enough. But I would say also to everybody, go to the public hospital for treatment. Treatment at a public hospital is far, far cheaper. You'll get it for a quarter of the price of what you'd pay in the Bangkok Rayong, in the Bangkok hospitals. You pay for the service in the Bangkok hospitals. Now, I've been in the Bangkok hospitals. I had a skin cancer test done at the Bangkok hospital. It's stunningly beautiful in there. They have the doormen who open that just looks like a 5-star hotel. The staff are immaculately dressed. There's no plastic chairs that you sit on. They're all leather, like club chairs that you sit on. It's spotlessly clean. There's chandeliers in the corridors and things like that. But by goodness, you pay the price. And a long story short, it cost me 8,000 baht to have 3 little I had a little one there and one on my arm and one on my back. And I forget where the other. But I had either 3 or 4 little biopsies. And he said, I'm 90% sure it's not skin cancer. And I said, well, I want to be 100% sure. He said, then we'll have to do a biopsy. And that cost me another 1,000 baht. So 8,000 baht altogether to see a skin specialist. I went there in the morning and I was done by 2 o'clock in the afternoon. So 180 pounds. And it took a week for the biopsy results to come back and see the doctor for the second time. 8,000 baht, about 180 pounds. I think it's money well worth spent to get the peace of mind. Now, why didn't I go to the public hospital for this one? Because the likelihood, Thai people don't suffer from skin cancer, not like the Westerners. So therefore, they would have referred me to the Bangkok hospital anyway. So rather than wasting the time, I went to the Bangkok hospital, and they have they have the best doctors, obviously, in Thailand, because it is the most expensive hospital. But I thought that was actually money well spent, and it for peace of mind was brilliant. Bill Simpson buy new, Paulas buy new. Paul, yeah, come on, support the team. Les, thumbs up. I can't see the thumbs up here, but yeah, give it. If you like the content, give it a thumbs up. Thumbs up is always good. And for those people who haven't subscribed, give us a subscribe because it all helps the algorithm, doesn't it? And I like doing these live streams. It's a good chance to impart my knowledge for those people who want to come across here and live across here. And I've done that sort of on a weekly basis. I'm in contact with different people almost every week. God love Thailand. Hi, Les. Good afternoon, David. David, if you like live streams, David's another good guy, American guy with live streams, and he's building another extension on the side of his house, a garage and a room and a driveway. So he does a cost breakdown with Dave. What he's doing with this, he's got a caravan, he's got kayaks and motorbikes. So he's a knowledgeable guy. So he's an interesting guy to talk to as well. When I first met Dave, we were down in Pattaya, and we sort of non-stop talking for about 6 hours. And he can talk the hind legs off a donkey, that's for sure. And he has a live stream twice a week, so have a look at his channel. Got to love Thailand. He's an interesting guy, and he's got some interesting projects on the go. So have I. Talking about interesting projects, a little bit of help is required. For those people who follow my channel for a while, you know I help to support a cat sanctuary, Michelle's Cat Sanctuary. Now, I was there the other day helping out, not working because I'm not allowed to work, just helping out as you do on a voluntary basis. I was helping out, and basically what's happened, she's had this fence put up. And you can see the fence on the side of me. It's all metal, and the Thai people who put it up never ever painted the posts that went into the ground, so it started to rot away. And as you can see on the top of the fence, there is the shiny panels, which acts as a bit of a wind sail. Now, them panels are at the top because the cats can crawl up the chicken wire fence, if you like, but they can't crawl over the smoothie side. So what we're going to do, or what I'm going to do, with the help of others, is put some concrete posts along that fence. Now, we need 6 of them. We need 6 to be able to put it in the ground and then tie it to the concrete posts. So therefore, it will not be blown over in the wind. And as we come into the rainy season and the windy season, she's scared because if that fence goes down, there's like 70 cats in that close. So anybody who wants to help support Michelle's cat sanctuary by making a donation, we're looking for 4,000 baht in total. That's to buy all the concrete and all the concrete posts. I'm going to help and do the supervision of that, if you like. I'll have the spade and I'll be supervising with the spade and a shovel. So anybody who wants to help support Michelle's cat sanctuary, I've done a couple of videos on Michelle's cat sanctuary. Either go to her video and there's a link in there on how you can support Michelle, or buy me a coffee, and my links are in the description below. Buy me a coffee, and then by making the donation, then put the donation to Michelle's cat sanctuary, and I'll forward the money onto her. Now, it's something that I do. I work for her, although I give her a donation every month as well. I work one day. I don't work. I help out one day a month, helping out. And when she showed me the rusty metal posts, it'll only take two or three really, really good wind, stormy days, and sadly, it may break the fence, and then 100 of the cats will disappear. So there, even if you buy an ebook, if you want to, you can buy me a cup of coffee if you want and put donation. But for this month, for the rest of this month, if anybody buys an ebook off me, then the donations of any of the ebooks this month will go towards Michelle's cat sanctuary, and about 4,000 baht I think it's going to cost for the concrete post. So that's just me. That's my way of helping out Michelle, and she's an Australian lady who works very, very hard. So anyway, that's my little project that I'm going to be doing over the next week or two, and I'll do a video about it as well. I was fixing water pipes and stuff yesterday, and hinges on doors. It's a never-ending task, and she loves the volunteers who will come along and work for her. There's people on Workaway and HelpX who will come along and volunteer for a few hours a day. She's got a condo that she rents out, so anybody that gives free 4 or 5 hours a day, they've got the free use of the condo. So she's a nice lady, so she deserves a little bit of help and support. 50,000 baht a month it costs her to look after these cats. Les, global health insurance cards valid until I have no idea. I don't know about that. I'm sorry. I know there's some Americans have worldwide cover, especially the veterans and stuff like that. They can get various insurance deals from America. But again, those Europeans or Brits, we have to pay for our healthcare. I got a rabies shot in Panam, 400 baht, public hospital. My third shot was done in hospital, 3,800 baht, private hospital. Yeah, it's about, to get the full cost of rabies shots is about 13,000 baht. So it's not cheap, 13,000 baht. My wife had the rabies shots because she got bit by one of the dogs at the farm. And because she was Thai, it cost her about 1,300 baht. But a foreigner, because I know a foreigner guy who got bit by a rabid dog, and it cost him 13,000 baht. Isan Man, the following government hospitals all have foreign customer offices, English speaking and bill insurance companies direct. I mean, I think the government are missing a goal here. They're sort of shooting themselves in the foot. I'm sure if they offered insurance to public hospitals, it'd be far, far cheaper than the insurance companies, and they would get paid as well by the insurance companies for public hospitals. Maybe it's one day they will look at that. Let's hope so anyway, because insurance, it's a massive, massive topic over here as far as people getting looked after. You know, that's one of the biggest questions that I get asked about. Well, what if this, what if that, what if the other? And again, I don't have all the answers. But if you're certainly sick and you're ill to come across here, it could end up costing you quite a lot of money, isn't it? So you've got to look at your own health situation anyway, as I did. I mean, I was 118 kilos. You know, this was me, maybe it's 4 years ago now, 118 kilos. So as you can see, I was rather chunky, and when it got to buy in size 44 shorts, the one there is from 118 kilos, and I got down to 98 kilos. So that jug of water, for those people who live in Thailand, that weighs about 20 kilos. So I was, you know, if anybody grabs hold of one of them 20 kilo bottles of water, it's bloody heavy. So I was walking around with that 24 hours a day. So I lost 20 kilos, and I'm back on the keto diet again now, because my trigger point is 105 kilos. So I got to 106 after I've been on holiday to Chiang Mai and Pai and stuff like that, been at the wife's farm. So it's hard to diet when you're eating out all the time. So now I'm back home, back at our house. The next holiday is in July. So when we go in July from my holiday, then should be down about 95, 96 kilos, fingers crossed. But that might have deafened a few people, me knocking the microphone over. So yeah, you know, do something about it. If you're overweight, do something about it, because it's going to affect you in the long run. If you've got high blood pressure, do something about it. You know, your life is in your hands, especially when you retire. You've got more time to do things anyway. I've never been an exercise person. I've never liked the gym. So many people have said to me, use the gym, go and do some exercise. I'm never ever going to do that, because I hate the gym. I hate exercise. I'll lose my weight through diet and things like that. It's more difficult to do it that way, but I don't mind doing it. Hi, Les. Hope you're well from New Zealand. Yeah, Scott, always well, mate. Always nice for you to join us, and I hope you get some valuable information from this. But I know you're just counting down the days, aren't you? You can't wait to get over here. Let's go. I don't want to sound stupid, but even you have retired in Thailand. Take it you can't use the NHS. I know you visited your family last year, but I just wondered if you could use the NHS. Okay, this might be a bit controversial and a little bit tongue-in-cheek and things like that, right? But this is my view of it. I still pay tax. I pay tax on me fire brigade pension. So I'm paying, I think, about 150, 160 pounds a month tax, but I get nothing for it. Officially, because I've left the UK, I'm not entitled to care on the NHS. Officially. And it would take up to 2 years for me to get back onto the register to be able to get free NHS treatment. In an emergency, when I had the suspected heart attack, anybody in the UK will get emergency treatment. It's only the ongoing treatment that may cost you the money. Now, my own little thing on this, and again, I'm going to get knocked on it, because they say you're not allowed to do it, you're not allowed to do that, you've left the country, you shouldn't be entitled to it, and all it goes on and on and on and on. But if I arrived in a little black boat and I got put up in a nice 4-star hotel and a phone and a little bit of pocket money every week and three meals a day, I jumped the queue on the NHS treatment. I jumped the queue to see a doctor. I jumped the queue to see a dentist. Now, for those people who've paid into the system all their lives, don't you think we should be allowed a little bit of flexibility? But I also say that if I get anything wrong with me as far as an illness, a critical illness, where I'm going to die, like, you know, cancer, something like that, I'll see my days out here in Thailand. I won't be a burden on the NHS treatment, because why would I want to live another 6 to 12 months if I have to live that 6 or 12 months back in the UK? I'll see my days out here in Thailand. So if I get a terminal illness, this is where I'll die. Hopefully I'll never ever have to go back to the UK for treatment, because I've got enough money here to cover medical costs, medical treatment, and next year when I get my state pension, I'll have a little bit more disposable income so I can take care of myself a little bit better in such emergencies. So yes, that's my view on the NHS treatment, and if I needed to do it, I'd go and do it. I like sport, absolutely zero, Jim. I've never been a sporty person either. I retired and don't give up. Hi, Dave. Another Dave. We're full of Davids. Dave's having a live stream tomorrow. He's one of the guys that I helped relocate here to Thailand. And again, he's a nice guy, Canadian guy, and he's been doing the YouTube now for a year, and he's having a yearly live stream tomorrow morning at 8 o'clock Thai time. So whatever that is in your time, whatever. But he's going to do a live stream to celebrate his 1 year, and I shall be on there as well with him. I shall be firing a few questions. Now, Dave's one of these newbies. So anybody that wants to ask newbie questions, I mean, I've been here for almost 13 years, so, you know, I'm sort of long in the tooth here. But if you want to ask any newbie questions, Dave's the type of guy that you can ask, because he's open and honest, and he'll tell you the good, the bad, and the ugly about coming here to Thailand. There you go, Dave. I hope you get a few more people looking at your live stream tomorrow. Question: how can one call UK telephone numbers cheaply from Thailand? It used to be Skype, but Skype is closing down this month in May. So there's a couple of other ways of doing it. But if you've got WhatsApp as well, if you've got WhatsApp, that's free. You can call anywhere around the world as long as you've got their WhatsApp number, and that's free as well. Or Messenger, if you've got Messenger, Facebook account, then you can talk to people the other side of the world on Messenger. I used to messenger me mother and me stepdad every week, twice a week with Messenger, up to an hour or so at a time, and that's totally free. But Skype, sadly, that was very, very good. I used to use Skype for ringing numbers that, like the tax offices and things like that, or the fire brigade, pensions department, you know, where they don't have your WhatsApp number. But there is a couple of companies now that are doing it. It's a little bit more expensive than Skype, but still cheap to do. So that's the advice on that. Paul, that's 100%. Yeah, thank you very much. Forgot you were on the good afternoon, Les. Andy, good afternoon, matey. Can you buy Thai health insurance with international coverage and use that on visit to the UK? Yes, you can. It's worldwide cover that I've got with the Pacific Cross, up to 90 days outside of the country, up to 90 days, and that's covered worldwide coverage. The check is on the. Oh yeah, well, okay, make it a good one. No, me and Dave have got on really well, as I say, from the first day we met. We sort of clicked type of thing, and he's a nice guy. Niall, hi Les, hi, good afternoon. So anyway, going a little bit back onto my reasons for going back on the keto again, because for me the keto works, and if you want to have a look at the ebooks, I've got loads of ebooks with regard to relocating to Thailand and stuff like that, but I do stuff like this, and Thrive on Keto, Sustainable Approach to Weight Loss, and that works very well. And these are only $3, so it's the price of a cup of coffee, and this is probably one of the best ones, that the Keto Air Fryer Cookbook. Many simple things. The keto diet is a brilliant meal. And this is another good seller as well. Ketogenic lifestyle, not a diet. Now I swear by the keto because the keto is very, very good. And again, I eat some of the meals out of the recipes. And that's another good one as well, is the Keto Slow Cooker cookbook. Plenty of, you can batch cook you can batch cook your keto meals, so you have a week's worth of meals in one cooking spot. So you don't even have to, you just cook one day and it'll do you for the week or something like that. That's what I do. I just batch cook, and you do the intermittent fasting as well. So it's hard for the first week. Any diet's hard for the first week, but after the first week, and this is from me, this is what I was like that, 118 kilos, as you can see on the screen now. So I'm not one of these people who've never ever been on the keto diet or whatever. That's before and that's after, and it works. Now, keeping it off is a totally different thing. You know, I've always gone up and down and that with me weight, so I've always struggled. I've been one of them yo-yo dieters, and so I accept that every now and then I'll have to do a bit of hard work and go on the keto. But the keto diet, it's the only diet, once you got used to that first week, the first week is the hardest, but it's the first week the hardest of any diet. But after the first week, you don't feel hungry at all. You really, really do not feel hungry. And the weight comes off, and it's just so, it's hard to explain that you don't feel the hunger pangs as you do in lots of other diets. And again, have a look through the books, and if you have a look through the books, it's easy, the keto diet. It's not difficult at all. And for those people who live in Thailand who miss Western food, well, you can cook Western food, you can cook Indian food, you can cook Chinese food, you can cook Thai food, and there's a keto version of it everywhere. So, you know, if potatoes, obviously anything to do with high carbs, you can't have, like potatoes and stuff like that, and rice is high in carbs. So yes, it is a bit of a strict diet as far as avoiding carbs concerned, but it's not a difficult diet to do. It's probably one of the easiest diets I've ever done. So for those, I mean, I've sold many keto books on my channel. So for those people that have bought the books, how did your keto diet go? Did you lose any weight? You know, I've had a couple of emails and say, you know, thanks very much for the inspiration, and they'd lost like 10 or 15 kilos on the keto diet, and I hope they managed to be able to keep it off. But the keto diet is fantastic. You can use Pacific Cross in the UK for accident emergency. For planned inpatient, you would need to get a pre-approved. I mean, there's what can I say? There's restrictions on anything and everything you do in life, isn't there? You know, now if I had, because I'm still got a postal address of the UK, I'm not going to tell them I live in Thailand all the time. If I was visiting in England and I needed the treatment, I'd just say nothing. I wouldn't say, oh, well, I don't live here anymore. I don't think, you know, you should be treating me because I'd just say no. I'd say nothing. I'm English. My passport's English. I'd throw my passport away so they couldn't say I've been living in Thailand. Why not? Because the other people do it. They chuck it in the channel, and they get all the treatment, don't they? Anyway, I don't want to argue over that because I could go on forever on a different subject with regard to that, and I don't want to do that because I've. It's sad to see what's happening to the UK for like that, and I'll leave it at that. I think your diet is really related to how and what time you eat. For me, I try to have a huge breakfast, small lunch and dinner. Beer doesn't help, so stay away from the Leo. Now, I'm not a breakfast person, so it doesn't bother me, breakfast. Never really have been a breakfast person. So brunch, 11 or 12 o'clock, that's when I have my meal. And I just have one meal a day. And then at 5 o'clock, I have I make a keto smoothie or keto cheesecake fluff, which is just to die for. It's one of my favorite meals, and it's whipped cream, a dash of lemon juice, vanilla essence. I put a bit of peanut butter in it now and some cream cheese. It literally takes 10 minutes to make, and it just hits that sweet spot. It is really, 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 really nice. And that's probably my favourite sweet. I've got a sweet tooth, so I have to have something sweet every day, and that's what I have for my. And again, I've done a diet on it, a video on it, the cheesecake fluff. But again, it's just so simple to make. It really, really is. Hi mate, I'm in Samui and it's a Buddhist day. Bars not selling beer. I thought the government have sort of getting around that, not being so strict on selling beer on a Buddhist day. Hey ho, I suppose, you know, different places. You can always get a beer from somewhere. They'll put it in a coffee cup or something like that. I've seen that happen many, many, many times. But yeah, I think it's a Buddha day tomorrow as well, on Monday, isn't it? So it's a Thai bank holiday again tomorrow. Retired and don't give up, Dave. Okay, I'll call you later on tonight. Yeah, no problem. I'll be available after 6 o'clock-ish, Dave, by the time I pack everything up here. No problems, mate. Good luck with and best wishes for the for your video tomorrow. I hope everything works. Good. Okay, what time is it now? I've been doing it for 51 minutes and 80 people in the house. No idea how many thumbs up, but if you like it, give it a thumbs up. If you don't, give it a thumbs down. It all helps the algorithm. So let's have a look. Okay. So the new motorbike versus old motorbike, I think you only had about 4 or 5 comments. For those people who didn't see about the buying a motorbike, I've got a friend who wants to buy a motorbike and sidecar, but first of all he wants just to buy the motorbike. And we looked at a couple of second-hand ones today, and how people try to sell a bike, the brakes weren't working. They really weren't working. And she said, "Oh, fix it," and just turned the screw up at the back, and you pulled it. It was a motorbike and sidecar, and you pulled it, and it just thinks about, oh, shall I stop? Shall I stop? And they're renting these machines out as well. They're just ready for an accident. And why people rent these, you know, motorbike and sidecars out with knowingly having a brake problem, I just couldn't believe it. And when she said, "Oh, I'll fix it," and all she did, there's a little tightening screw at the bottom of it to tighten the shoes up on the rear drum brakes. It was no better at all. And I said to my friend, I said, "Listen, don't buy it." I said, because the brakes aren't working straight away. "I'll get it fixed. I'll get it fixed." Why didn't they get it fixed? Because they're trying to sell it. So I said, the motorbike is about 7 or 8 years old with 40,000 kilometers on it. It didn't look in the best shape. So I said to him, buy new. I know it's about 30,000 baht difference, but would you say 30,000 baht extra is well worth it to buy a brand spanking new bike and then you know the history of it? I would say yes. Scott, I joined the gym on punch bag and weights and go for a run. Lost 5 kilos so far. Oh, well, good for you. Good for you. Again, running, I did that. I hated it. Only 28 thumbs up. Oh my goodness. And 88 views. 88 people in the house, or 86 now. 2 people don't want to give a thumbs up. Yeah, tomorrow, Buddha's Day. Yeah, another Buddha's Day tomorrow. So alcohol on restrictions type of thing. But if you want to drink alcohol, you can have a couple of beers at home. It doesn't bother me. I'm not really a big drinker. So I can take it or leave it, really. But has anybody got any questions? Because where are we? It's your chance to ask any questions whatsoever. And again, what about the visas, the entry ones? Has anybody had any problems with them? Because I've had a couple of people who asked me the question, and I don't really know the answer. For these, it used to be called a TM6, where you had to fill it in. on the plane when you come to Thailand. And then they did away with it for 6 months. For me, it was one of the best things that they did, because then people didn't have to worry about filling in the TM6 cards. But now apparently you've got to fill it in 3 days before you come to Thailand. But for those people who do the border runs, it was actually Tim Newton from TNT. He does various news issue programs on the internet, YouTube. And he said that's causing a few problems, because when you're filling out your TM6 card, your TM6 card is already filled out to say that you're in Thailand. So this may cause a problem, that whereas you do the border on the same day, you just go out at the border and then you turn around and you come back in, filling your new TM6 card, and it might not accept it because according to the records, you're already still booked in. Has anybody had any problems with that? Anybody got any workarounds for that? If anybody's had that problem, put it in the comments and we'll go through that, because people have asked me that, and as yet I don't really know, because that system's only been in from the 1st of May. And like tax, what's everybody doing about the tax? That seems to have sort of died a death since the March was the deadline that you had to have your tax payments in. It used to be a wash. Every week there was 1 or 2 videos about Thai tax. And now there's no videos about Thai tax. There's still a lot of disinformation out there that you don't have to pay it, or you have to pay it, or whatever. Getting your tax ID number. Various companies were charging you 7,000 baht to go and get your Thai ID number. And again, I did a video about it, and you can actually, it's free. If you go to the tax office yourself with all the information, your passport, your address, things like that, you can get your tax ID number, and it's for free. So 7,000 baht for literally 15 minutes work. Crazy, isn't it? Neil, hi Les, hi Neil. Benjamin Law. I'm a bit late to the party, Les. Watching from the start. I know it will all be good. I enjoy all your videos. Thanks very much for watching. Thanks very much for joining. UK is the only country that can tax you. Thailand can't tax you. Yes, they can. Yes, they can. They can tax you. Basically, okay, if it's a state pension, they can't tax you on your state pension. But if you get an income, say you rent properties out and things like that, and it's not a pension, if it's a private pension, they can still tax you on a private pension. They can tax you on if you get money from investments and things like that. So there's still criteria where they can tax you on from the UK. But for me, because I'm on a government pension, they can't tax the government pension because of the double tax, reciprocal tax agreements. And same as the state pension, because it's classed as a government pension, they can't tax me on that as well. So I'm okay with that. But again, as far as giving advice is concerned, everybody is totally unique, and this is what the Thai government are having the problem with, because we're all different. So every single tax authority is actually, you have a problem, because they have to look deeply into where you tax. As long as you can prove it, you're okay. And that's where I've got to prove that I've paid my tax already. And he is the sting in the tail, which I think is going to come this year, is the tax lady or the tax manager that we talked to in our tax office. When I went to help 2 other people, so I asked various questions while I was there, and I asked about my own circumstances, even though I did videos and telling people I'm not doing anything about it. It was silly not to ask various questions whilst I was there, because I was there helping 2 other people getting the tax ID numbers. So the lady, the manageress of the tax office, says later this year it will be linked to getting your visas, whether it be a marriage visa or whether it be a retirement visa. It will be linked that you have to show that you made some arrangements that you're either tax exempt, or you paid your tax, or you don't have to pay tax. That will be coming in as a requisite for your visa. Now, this is, don't shoot the messenger. This is what she said to me, and I can see that happening as well. because the only way they can guarantee that you've actually complied with the tax agreement or the tax what may be payable to Thailand is link it to your visa, and they'll want some information to say that you're not registered, you don't have to pay tax because you've got the documentation to do it, or that you paid your tax and you've got the documentation to do it. That will be coming in sometime this year, according to the manageress of the tax, and she said it's the only way they can ensure that everybody's complied with, the tax liabilities, if you like. So take that, with a pinch of salt if you want, and nobody knows for sure, but I'm only telling you what somebody tells me. So good luck with your tax. Is your tax ID number the same as your pink ID card number? No, it isn't. But I haven't got a tax ID number because I was exempt from paying tax, and the manageress of the tax office says, as long as I can show I have a government pension and I've paid tax in the UK, which I can, then she said there's no need for you to register for a tax ID number or anything to do with, registering it, just as long as you've got them details, which I have. So I'm okay with that. Hi Les, enjoying the vlogs. At the moment they are spraying the skies here in the UK with sulfur dioxide. Are they spraying it in Thailand? I have no idea. I don't know. But they don't need any of that for the rainy season here. My wife, we've just come from my wife's farm last week, and they're flooded now. The roads, the farm, the road that goes to Place Farm is all flooded now, and all the fields are under about 2 feet of water. So they've had a lot of rain there. So they don't have to bother with it, because it's like every year the rains come here. I arrived on the 2nd and filled it out 3 days before. Very fast fingerprints and photos taken, so easy. And you can use the machine at arrival. Yeah, that's good. Thanks very much. Again, those people that have to do the border runs, because of the visa runs, again, have to change. People say they're thinking about changing it back from a 60-day down to a 30-day. Again, I haven't heard any news on that. Is it still 60 days and you can apply for 30 days? And that's because people were flouting the system and opening, jobs and things like that. Well, for me, and it's only two of it's the Ruskies and the Chinese that are sort of flouting the law. So why punish everybody? Just punish the people that's flouting the law. That's my opinion. The 60-day visa was fantastic to have that option. Okay, not everybody's going to use the full 60 days plus 30 days extension, which gives you 90 days in a year. But it's nice for it to be available, isn't it? And because of a few selfish other people who flout the law, everybody's going to pay the price, and they're going to drop it back down to 30 days, or that's what they're talking about. Did my tax, bought in $1 million baht last year. My tax was 0. That was from the rental property. Fellow in the tax office helped me out with some forms. Again, if you brought $1 million in, if that was earned from the year before, there's a lot of loopholes in the tax system, yeah. But again, I'm sure the tax office, was that a private tax office or a private tax agent, or was it in the Thai office? My mate who came with me was told he didn't need to fill out any forms, so he has no proof he tried to do it. Well, again, saying I've got no proof to say that I've tried to do it, but what she told me, and she gave me a piece of paper, I've got to say, she gave me this piece of paper. It was all in Thai, but so she translated it. I mean, the manageress of this tax office was so helpful in comparison to the tax office that we went to before that, and I'll come on to that in a minute. So she translated the forms into English, and it's only one little paragraph in reams and reams and reams of documentation. It says that I don't have to pay tax because it's a government pension, and that's what it says on the form. If it's proved that it's a government pension, then I don't have to pay tax, and as long as I can prove that I paid tax on it, and job done. So that's all I need to show the immigration department. Talking. Been talking now for an hour. I temporarily lose my voice after doing one of these, because sometimes I've talked for like 3 or 4 hours. So yeah, the tax issue again, it just seems to have died a death a little bit, doesn't it? There's nobody talking about tax. Thailand has gone downhill since the junta took over. Soldiers cannot run the country. They get but hurt and hate, losing face. Yeah, well, that's a big Thai issue, losing face over here. Yeah, Thailand, looking at it, I've been here for almost 13 years now, sort of shoot themselves in the foot. The tax for one is the biggest elephant in the room as far as dissuading people from coming over here. The visas, again, the opening bank accounts and things like that. Now, I understand why they're doing it. They're freezing the bank accounts and they're making it more difficult for even the agents to obtain the visas. But that's because of the situation, what's going on in Russia. There's lots of Ruskies over here opening their own businesses and thinking that they now run Thailand. It's causing a lot of problems in Phuket, that's for sure. They have their own taxis, they have their own estate agents, they have their own tour guides. They have sort of overstepped the mark, if you like, and Thailand has to sort of rein them in now. But they've spent billions and billions of Thai baht buying properties and things like that. It shot the price of properties and rental sky high in Phuket, and there's now a price to pay, and they just sort of seem to think they can take over a part of the country. So that's the downfall of the Ruskies. I don't blame the Ruskies from being over here. I'd do exactly the same. I wouldn't fight for that person who wants to rule the world for his own selfish ambitions, I would think, but that's another political rabbit hole that I'm not going to go down. But yes, Thailand shooting themselves in the foot. They should encourage, for me, the retired people who live here should be given a little bit more encouragement to spend the money over here. With, don't worry about the tax if you've lived over here, unless you earn over 2 million baht or bring over 2 million baht, don't worry about the tax. It's the worry that's given people. And let's face it, at the minute, 30% of the Chinese now have stopped coming here. 30% tourists are down. They're going somewhere else. Vietnam is the next place that the Chinese are visiting. So if they want to encourage the people who stay here long term. I mean, I spend 60,000 baht here every single month, but I get no extra benefits or nothing from it. And there's one other YouTuber he said, if they want me to pay tax here and I get nothing for my tax dollars, then he said, why do I need to stay in Thailand? And he's got a point with that. You're no better thought of having to pay tax over here. You get no extra benefits, no extra incentives to stay here, but they want the tax off you. Again, now that puts a lot of people off. But still, I was watching a documentary or a program this morning, another YouTube video, and Thailand is ranked second of the best places to retire in the whole world. Portugal is still number one, but then there was Ecuador, then there was Malaysia, Mexico, all the normal places. So if you struggle in your own country with a credit crisis, well, move to another country. You don't have to live for the rest of your life in your home country. I'd move tomorrow. I've got a far, far better lifestyle here than I ever could afford in the UK. And again, I'll come on to that in a minute as to exactly how much you can live here for. The UK DTA says civil service pensions tax-free, but the UK got a clarification on them. So civil service includes all the public service pensions. Yeah, spot on, Isan man. I've got that in writing, and I've got that in, I've copied it. So I've got all the documentation to, if I'm ever asked, what have you done? And like, there you go, there's my documentation. Lots of younger Russians, and yeah, I mean, the Russians and I can't blame them. You know, let's face it. If you could get out, they're just cannon fodder. They're just being. It's a senseless war that's going on, and you know, I do exactly the same. Hopefully, within the next month or two, everything will quieten down. It'll stop, and sense will prevail. Sig, question is, do you know whether it has been easier to open a bank account lately? As I understand, it is the government had a crackdown on foreigners having and are opening new bank accounts. Yes, the agents that I send people to open up a bank account, yes, they're starting to open bank accounts now for retired people who are trying to get a visa. But you can't. It's still difficult to open up a bank account with a tourist visa. So unless you're trying to get a retirement visa or visa, a retirement visa or a marriage visa, it's still very difficult to open up a bank account. And I can understand the reason. There was something like 90,000 bank accounts which were closed because of fraudulent activities that was going on. And some of these accounts were also closed because some of the agents just put 800,000 or 900,000 baht in the bank account as the sum of money required to open up a visa, and nobody puts any money in it, so it's just left dormant. 800,000 baht goes in, 3 minutes later it comes out, and for the rest of the year nothing goes in until like the next application for a visa, and then 800,000 will go in there. For 3 minutes later it'll come back out again. Them are the accounts that they've stopped and they've put a hold on. And again, there's lots of Ruski accounts and Chinese accounts of washing the money, if you like. So yes, I don't blame the Thais for doing what they're doing, and they've got to make it more difficult because there's a lot of corruption going on over here. So yeah, it's like everything else. They'll get a handle on it, and then they'll stop it, and then things will come back to normal. But yes, it's still very difficult to do. And of course, the price has gone up because anything that's difficult, the price goes up. Hi Les, it seems strange not to have a tax ID number. Filing to state that you don't need to pay would stop them from being repeatedly asked if you need or have. Well, I agree with you. I thought, you know, if I got a tax ID number and a piece of paper to say, turn around and say, there you go, you don't have to pay tax. I would prefer that from the tax office to say that, yeah, if you got it in official in black and white, say you will not have to pay tax because of these reasons, but then you would still have to show them reasons as well, because you could have faked that letter from the tax office. So I can understand, but at the end of the day, I've got the piece of paper to say, because I'm on the government pension, as long as I can show that it's a government pension, which it is, and I got a P60 every year to say how much tax I paid for the year, so I can prove that I paid tax on it. So, but I agree what you say, but at present yet nobody's asking for that clarification. It's only what the manageress says. In future, it may be that you have to show proof that you paid the tax. So we'll see anyway. With Pacific Cross, do you pay any upfront for medical costs and claim them back, or do they pay directly? Now, again, there's a little bit of controversy over that with regard to paying up front or whatever. If you take out Pacific Cross and you make a claim for, say, in the first 6 months or something like that, you may be required then to actually pay the upfront costs and then reclaim the cost, because there is a settling in period, and it's usually 6 months or something like that. And then if you have any medical problems, 6 months, and it should show its ugly head, if you like, if you've got any high blood pressure or stroke or stuff like that. So there is a 6 month bedding in period, and because I've been with them for over 10 years now, they pay direct. And I've questioned it, because I've talked to the horse's mouth, if you like, Pacific Cross, and they said because I've been with them for that long, I've got no pre-existing conditions and things like that, and I've never made a claim, so they know I'm not trying to pull the wool over their eyes. So yeah, I've had a couple of people who turned around and said I had to pay first and I had to reclaim the money back. It's until they get within a year or 2 years. When I spoke to the Pacific Cross representative, and I had an interview with him in Bangkok, and that's where he said, so if you've been there with them for over a year, then they're more likely to pay direct or pay up front before you have to pay it. But 6 months to the first year, you may have to pay up front and then reclaim the money back. But after 2 or 3 years or so, they'll pay because you've been with them for 2 or 3 years. Especially if you haven't made a claim, you'll be okay. But again, don't shoot the messenger. If you want to know for sure, give Pacific Cross a ring, and one of their representatives will tell you exactly how it's going to work and how, if you will have to pay up front or not. But at the minute, I was told by the horse's mouth, because I've been with them for 10 years, I don't have to pay. They will pay up front. Restoration Archive, good day, Les, good day. I take it that's from Australia. Hello, Australia. I did say the 700,000 would be more to cover the quadruple bypass at Queen's Sickert Heart Centre, not that it wouldn't. You just read it wrong. Oh, okay. I'm sorry if I read it wrong, Isan man. I will outlink where you can see yourself in comments once the statement is up, once the streaming is over. Oh, okay. Okay, right. Okie dokie. So, yeah. So getting back onto, like, if we've got some new the new viewers here, my insurance is due. So we'll go back onto this. I started this right at the beginning, so some people may have missed it. My medical insurance is up for renewal this year, and I have 700,000 bahts worth of cover, and that cost me less than 25,000 baht a year. And what I can do, I can give you the details of, if you send me an email, I'll put my email address on here in a second. Let me find out this. There you go. That's my email address. So anybody that wants to find out the insurance lady that I deal with, and she works for the Pattaya Expats clubs in Pattaya, obviously, and she will give you all the details and copies, and she'll send you one of them. And this gives you an indication as to what your covers are and things like that. And for me, I've got 700,000 bahts worth of cover, and this year, because I'm 64-year-old, it's the same price as it was last year, and that's 24,885 baht, and that's for a year's cover, and that'll cover me for 700,000. But if you want 1 million bahts worth of cover, that's 37,460 for a 64-year-old. Once you get 65, then you've got to go have a medical with Pacific Cross. It's not a totally in-depth medical, blood pressure, diabetes check and stuff like that. But if you're less than 65, you don't have to have one of these pre-existing medical conditions. And but if you have any pre-existing medical conditions, then you have to declare them anyway. But like, I'm pretty healthy. When I was 118 kilos, I was still covered on the insurance, because I took my insurance out before I got to 118 kilos, so I was covered. And if you want 1.5 million bahts worth of cover, this is from a 61 to a 65-year-old. That's 46,811 baht, and that's without outpatients cover. And I think it's good value for money. And I know a lot of people are going to say that 700,000 baht isn't a lot, but I'd sooner have 700,000 bahts worth of cover than nothing at all. And I can find the 25,000 baht a year insurance cost, as opposed to trying to find 700,000 baht. Now, other people have said, it won't pay for a quadruple heart bypass. But let's face it, I might never ever need a quadruple heart bypass. But let's just look at if you get an infection, get a lung infection, chest infection, kidney infection, kidney stones, and something like that, or the run of the mill, apart from the things that are going to kill you, a quadruple heart bypass. I'm sure you're going to have various problems before you get to that stage. So that's what I'm saying. If you're suffering from that type of illness, then you should be, looking for a better cover anyway. And for those people that are aged 66 to 70 years old for 700,000, because I'll get in that category in 2 years' time, and that's only goes up from 24, almost 25,000. Let's call it 25,000, 24,885 for a 61 to 65-year-old. When you get to 66 to 70 years old, it only goes up 5,000 baht a year. So that's not too high, is it? And that's for 700,000 bahts worth of cover. And if you get to 71 to 75-year-old, and again, that's why I say join them early, because then once you're covered, and if you haven't got any pre-existing conditions, you're covered. So we all are going to suffer illnesses, or things that start going to go wrong, higher blood pressure or cholesterol or stuff like that. If you get covered early, then this insurance premium is going to cover you anyway. So for a 71 to 75-year-old, 40,297 for 700,000 bahts worth of cover. And if you get with Pacific Cross early enough, they'll cover you up to 99 years old anyway. And for 76 to 80-year-old, if you're 50,572. So for me, I can afford to pay them payments for the rest of my life, to like 80-year-old. So I know that because I joined the Pacific Cross early enough, I'm going to be covered for all of them costs. So take out your medical insurance as young as you can, because if you take it out young, then there's less likely that you're going to have any illnesses or anything wrong with you. So go for it. Go for it. And again, just send me an email for any of those people who want the details with regard to Pacific Cross. I'll send you to the lady. I'll send you to the lady that deals with it. For how much is it for a 59-year-old? How much is it for? Okay, for a 59. Okay, 18 to 60-year-old. That's a big coverage. From 80 to 60-year-old, it's the same price. 20,550 baht. So it's only at the age of 61 to 65, it goes up to 24,885. So at 59, 20,550, it's nothing, is it? That's for 700,000. And if you wanted 1.5 million bahts worth of cover, that's only 36,726. So it's sort of silly not to take out the insurance if you're okay. I know I get loads of email. Well, I've got this problem, I've got that problem, I've got the other problem. Well, it's not me that you need to talk to. Pacific Cross, if you tell them what conditions you have, then they can give you a price as to what they'll cover and what they won't cover and how much it is. But even so, even if you've got problems that you're sort of uninsurable, then if you still want to retire over here, there's ways and means of doing it. It's just sort of looking outside of the box. If you've got your 800,000 baht in the bank for your retirement visa, that's your emergency treatment money. So your 800,000 is in the bank, where my 700,000 is with an insurance company. So even if you spent the full 800,000 baht on your medical problem, that if you touch wood that you don't, but if you had to spend that 800,000, you didn't have 800,000 to put back into the bank for your retirement visa, go and see an agent. And an agent will put the 800,000 in the bank for you, and he'll charge you 30,000 baht. So you can still get your retirement visa by other methods. So you still have the 800,000 as emergency medical fund. And for those people who use an agent and don't have any money in the bank, then you're sort of stuffed, really. That's when the problems start. So I would suggest that you need to have an alternative. When you're getting older, you do need medical. That's the biggest thing I would say that you need over here in Thailand. There are many workarounds for many things here, but medical insurance or medical cover isn't one of them. There's no workarounds with that. You can use your 800,000 baht as an emergency fund, take out your insurance as soon as you can, and then if you take it out as soon as you can, then you're going to be covered. 700k for 25k, that's like 28 years payments. 28 years of payments. Yes, something like that. I haven't done the maths on that, but I'll take your word for that. So that's what I'm saying. 25,000 is I don't even worry about it. That's got to be paid at the end of this month, and I'm covered for another year. There are a lot of options for hospitals. For example, non-profit private hospitals such as Bangkok Christian Hospital, and non-government non-profit public hospitals such as King Chubba Red Cross Hospital. Well, I don't know about that, Isan man. Again, I've not looked into that because I've got the insurance. But there are some people who stick their head in the sand for sure, saying, "Oh, nothing's going to happen to me." But what if you have a fall off a ladder, trip over your own slippers or something like that, and you have an accident, you break your leg, break your arm, then you're still going to need insurance. You're still going to need medical treatment. So, if at the very minimum, take out accident insurance. Accident insurance for about $1 million baht is about 6,000 or 7,000 baht a year. And let's face it, you're probably more likely to have an accident over here than have an illness. And touch wood, we all live happily, healthy lives, and we don't have hospital visits, and we don't have to use the hospitals. But I'm sure when it comes, that one day it'll come, and many people will be glad that they're insured, because everybody worries about medical costs over here. That's the biggest question. Visas and medical insurance are the two biggest questions that I get emails almost on a daily basis. And like with visas, I've got plenty of workaround schemes that are all legal. I would never tell anybody to do anything illegal. And for those people to be able to do it and work around the system, because let's face it, the system over here in Thailand, there's plenty of workarounds for everything. I guess there's no update on the guy going to the Philippines and his pension. I'll come on to that. I'll come on to that now then. In a word, no, there isn't. I'm still as much in the dark as is the guy that went to the Philippines. Here we are now in May, and he came back to Thailand in January. And on my last vlog, or my last live stream that I did, I said I was talking to the guy, and he sent another letter to the tax office saying, why haven't I got the new payments? And I've got a little bit more information from that. Basically, some letter had been put back in his file and said no further action, and the file was put away. So when I talked to the Department of Work and Pensions, and it was a bit of a heated discussion, and I've got it all on tape, I've got it all on, and I'm going to do a video on it, but I still need a little bit more information off the guy who I'm helping fighting his case for, because at the end of the day, he gains if the system pays him, but the system are putting so many obstacles in his way. And basically I recorded the conversation because although it was a heated conversation, she came back and her attitude was totally different when she knew I was correct in what I'd said. And she said, yes, she said, the law is, as it stands at the moment, you would get that rise. So I sent the recorded information to this guy who's fighting the tax office, and the tax office said, oh, we've got it on file. And she said, they've just put no further action to be taken. And he asked the question, well, why no further action? And she said, going by everything that I've read, she said, you're entitled to it. He said, well, why aren't you paying it? She said, well, I need to investigate this then. And that now is 2 weeks ago. 2 weeks ago, and she has to further investigate it. And I sent him an email the other day, and I still haven't got a reply from him yet to say that he's being paid the extra money or not. So everybody says, yes, you're going to get paid. Everybody says, yes, you're entitled to it because you've matched the criteria, but the tax department don't want to pay him. Because I will do a video on it. If he gets, I'll do a video if he gets paid or if he doesn't get paid. I think what it is, because the floodgates then may open and other people may do the same. Because let's face it, this guy did it for £41 a week extra. So there's some people out who haven't had a tax rise for years and years. And if they're going to do that, then it's sort of a little loophole in the system, isn't it? But my opinion of that is the tax will use the loophole to stop paying you. So why can't we use the loophole to gain the system? When all said and done, it's your money when all said and done, and they should pay you, and it's criminal that they don't. And I think that they're just maybe looking for a way to close that loophole. And again, he's a pioneer, and I take my hat off to him because he's the first person that's done it. There's other couple of people that I've emailed and I said, just hold your horses until the results come out from this one. Because even now, they're still telling me and others, yes, you will get the rise if you do that. So let's see what happens. Hopefully, I'll give him an email again next Friday. Then that's 3 weeks. 3 weeks since they said, oh, you qualify for it. Yes, I can't understand why they aren't paying you. I'll investigate into it. So he's got no phone call and he's got no email back from them. So I'll give it another week, and then that'll take us like more than halfway through May, and he's been back since January. So it's criminal, and it's so wrong that they've took this long to investigate the system as well. They're wrong. The system is there, and if you go by the rules of the system, 185 days in a reciprocal country, you are entitled to that rise. There's nothing in black and white to say that, although she tried to direct me to it. She's I can only send it. I said, I've got all of that information. There's nothing in black and white that says, and I said, you are the horse's mouth. You are the people that can say yes or no. And if it's a no, give me the reasons for it. And if it's a yes, give me the reasons for it. But can you give me it in writing? No, we can't give it in writing. It's why now I tape all the conversations. It's crazy. It's like, yeah, we'll pay you. And then like, oh, no, we're not going to pay you. It's crazy. But that's the Department of Work and Pensions. So I'm looking forward to do the video, but hopefully it's a positive one where he's got his money. Sorry, that should be blood money if anybody is killed. Oh, what's that? All right, yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, I can tell you a little story about insurance in a minute, Mr. Isan Man, but it worked to the person's advantage. As I fell down, went to the local hospital, then the ambulance to the city, broken collarbone, fractured shoulder, all treatment, 2,500 baht. Oh, fantastic! That's well done. I hope you have a speedy recovery and don't fall over again. Take a little bit more water with it. Yeah, again, public hospitals is cheap. Go to the public hospital. The UK needs all the spare cash they can get hold of for the boat for. Exactly. And now they're putting them into houses. Yeah. I did a video about that. I did a video about the house. 25 years ago, I had a house that I rented out to students, and I was offered £1,000 a year. That's all it was, £1,000 a year more if I rented it out to, as it was, refugees then. And nowhere 25 years ago, we didn't have the problem 25 years ago like what we have now. And taken that, when I rented the house out to the students, they did £1,000 worth of damage to the house. There were a rugby team, and they were throwing rugby balls around in the house, which dented the walls or scrubbed the wallpaper, broken a couple of lampshades and stuff like that, shagging on the beds type of thing, broken the beds. And the university said fair wear and tear, like £1,500 worth of damage, fair wear and tear. So I got nothing back off the university. And as it was, the government came along then, so we'll give you £1,000 a year extra, and we'll take care of you. We'll rent it off you for 5 years. We'll take care of all the bills. We'll give you it back in the same situation, in the same standard that you give it to us. Bearing in mind, everything was spanking brand new beds, brand new everything. I did a video about it anyway. And this was 25 years ago. I got the house back after 5 years. It was trashed. It was absolutely junked. Grease and fat, everything was brought. It cost me £5,000 to put the house right before I sold it, because I was just sick of it. And my solicitor, when I give him the contract, he said, "Oh, you can't lose, Les." He said, "Fantastic." He said, "Go for it." So I did. I went for it. And then when I went back to the same solicitor and said, "Listen, they've trashed the house. They haven't given it back in the condition that they said they were going to give it back." And he said, "Government, Les, big pocket. You're going to lose." He said, "Take it on the chin." He said, "You'll win," but he said they'll delay the case, and it'll cost you a lot more than £5,000 in court costs to win the case. Take it on the chin. This is what's going to happen to all the landlords. They've said, "We'll give you the money for 5 years." The resentment that people are going to have for the landlords, it's going to create more problems it's going to solve. Learn by my lesson. I thought it was a gift horse, and it wasn't. It turned out to be a nightmare. So don't do it. Insurance. So there should be blood money. Again, there was an American guy that helped out. He liked his alcohol, and I told him, "Don't drink and drive." I said, "Because you'll have an accident." Did he listen to me? No, he didn't. He rented a motorbike, and he had an accident because he was drunk, and he thought for a minute he was back in America, so he was on the wrong side of the road. He took a diversion to try and miss the truck that were coming to him on his wrong side of the road, because he was in America, of course, because he was 9 shades to the wind. So long story short, they had an accident, and he had to have 2 toes amputated because he hit the rear mudguard, and it sort of sliced 2 of his toes off. Lo and behold, the rented motorbike that he crashed, he didn't damage the motorbike, it was just his foot that was damaged. So the basic insurance will cover you for a basic insurance. They found out on his way to hospital that the bike wasn't insured. But this was like 8 o'clock on the night time. By 9 o'clock the following morning, the bike was insured, and it had been insured for 6 months. So a lot of jiggery pokery went on, waving the magic wand, and the insurance paid for him to have his 2 toes amputated. So again, insurance. Sadly, now that gentleman has died. And he used to drink a lot, obviously, and I think alcohol was his downfall. If you go back to the UK, you have to slide for habitual residence, and the Department of Work and Pension inform you in writing. So once you got it in writing, that is your state pension reset. I'm umming and ahhing because they won't give you it in writing. They will not give you it in writing at all. And this gentleman that went to the Philippines, it was all by word of mouth on the phone, and sadly he never recorded any of his conversations either. And what the tax office said, and I had this argument with the Department of Work and Pensions a little bit later on, following the conversation with this guy, and there is no term or time limit to be habitually resident. And I said, how long would it be classed that you'd be resident, say, in the UK? And they said, oh, well, between 1 and 3 months, then we'd class you as being resident in the UK. So I said, would you class habitually resident if you stay there for 6 months? Oh, she said, definitely. We'd class you as habitually resident if you're there for 6 months. So I said, if I was habitually resident in the Philippines, would that count? She said, well, yeah, if you live there for 6 months, we'd class you as habitually resident. But what the tax office have said to this gentleman, well, we don't think you were going to stay there long term. We think you only did that so you could claim your extra pension. And she said, we don't think that you seriously were going to live in the Philippines. But yet, how come their class is 1 to 3 months as you've been habitually resident, and certainly 6 months you are habitually resident? So you ticked all their boxes, more than 185 days, but now they look upon it, well, we don't think you're going to live there full time, and you have to live there full time. So why have the 185-day rule? If they're making the rules up as they go along. And the lady that I had the argument with, and again, I've got it all on tape, was adamant adamant that I was wrong and she was right until she asked the supervisor, and she came back in a totally different tone and she said, yeah, you're correct in what you're saying. So even the tax officers don't sing by the same hymn sheet. But getting it in writing, she says, no, we will not give you it in writing. So as far as getting it in writing back in the UK, I don't think that's ever going to happen either, man, sadly. But I agree, because I asked for it in writing. She said, no, we can't give it in writing. I said, well, why can't you give it in writing? She said, because it's all laid out in the paperwork and in the documentation that you can get online. But I said, it doesn't state my exact question about, will I get it? She said, well, we can't do that. So that's what I'm saying. They will try to get out of £41 a week. That's all it is. 500,000 people throughout from the UK don't get their state pension increase every year because they're living out of not in a reciprocal country. Turkey is another reciprocal country. So even if you lived in Turkey, you could get your full rise as well. And funnily enough, Turkey was one of the top 10 places to live in the world for a better retirement. Turkey, and I thought, oh, that's a reciprocal country. So you could get your increases every year living in Turkey. So, right, where else have we got here? Okay, I said right at the very beginning, I do a little bit of work for a cat sanctuary. So therefore, I help out one day a month at the cat sanctuary. And this is a bit of if somebody wants to help my friend Michelle run a cat sanctuary. She has over 90 cats and 5 dogs. She's got a bit of a problem at the minute. And this fence that you see here, it was put in 4 years ago. 4 years ago, and it's all started to rot because they put the metal posts into concrete into the ground. Now the posts are starting to rot, and she's worried now that behind this barrier, behind this fence, there's like 70 or 80 cats. So she's frightened in case the wind blows the fence down, and then 70 or 80 cats are all going to be on the Great Escape. So I said I'd help her to fix the fence. So we're looking for 4,000 baht in total for 6 concrete posts in the concrete, and I'll be helping her to dig the holes and put the concrete posts in. And that's my help towards her, because I work or help out with her every month. I work one day for her to help her with the cats and the animals. So if anybody wants to donate to Michelle and the cat sanctuary, the video that's on here is Michelle's cat sanctuary. That's on the video, and it's got the address on there. But if you want to donate to my channel with regard to buy me a cup of coffee, and then anybody buys any books from me this month, and I will donate the money to Michelle's cat sanctuary to help build these concrete posts up so the fence will never blow down and it'll be done properly. So that's what my ambition is to do this month, is try to raise 4,000 baht to get the concrete posts, and I'll help her put them in so I know it's done properly. So hopefully, people will help out, usually quite good. But she's an Australian lady that spends a lot of her pension looking after these cats, and I work one day a week for her. So if anybody wants to make a contribution towards Michelle, thank you very much for any contributions. It'll be all, and I'll do a video about it, and thanks to the people who have donated. And as I say, I've got some ebooks for sale with regard to the keto diet and stuff like that. Anybody who buys any keto books from me this month, all that money will be donated towards Michelle and the cats, to try and get the cats put right, or to stop them from escaping. And at the end of the day, this lady works extremely hard to look after the cats. She's got over 90 cats and 5 dogs. And I take my hat off to her. She works very, very hard. Right, what else have we got here? Oh, yeah. Not that one. That's me with it. Talking about keto. I'm on the keto diet. I've got various keto books within here, and I'm talking about health insurance and stuff like that earlier on. If you're overweight, you've got to do something about it, and I did something about it because here I was 118 kilos, and I eventually came down to this one, which was I lost over 20 kilos, so I was down to 97, 98 kilo from 118, and I just feel totally better. And again, with these books that I've got on the keto diet on available at Buy Me a Coffee, and if you go to that link there, that'll take you to the Buy Me a Coffee website where you can buy the keto books. And I've sold quite a few keto books, and it's helped many people lose a little bit of weight. I like the keto diet. I mean, I'm always going up and down with regard to the diet because I've always got up and down with my weight all my life, and I find that the keto diet is an easy diet to go on. After the first week, any diet, the first week is difficult to do. But once you're on the keto, I eat one meal a day. So as far as cutting down your costs for eating, if you're only eating one meal a day, then it's not expensive, is it? And then it's the only diet that I've actually been on that you don't feel hungry. After the first week, when everything settles down, I do the intermittent fasting. So I only eat one meal a day, which is 12 o'clock. And then I have a pudding, which is a keto pudding. I eat that at 5 o'clock, and then I have nothing to eat again until 12 o'clock the following day. And it's easy. It's one of the easiest diets. And I use 105 kilo as my trigger point. I was 101 kilo in December before we went away to Chiang Mai, Pai and Ban Rak Thai. So I just ate what I wanted. So I did put weight on, and we were at the wife's farm. So we were on holiday here, there and everywhere. And I'd gone up to 106 kilos. So I started the diet when I came back a week ago, and I'm down to 104. So from 106.6 to 104.4 today. So I've lost a couple of kilos in a week or so. And average out, you lose about a kilo a week. And it's slow, gradual. But the best thing about it is that you don't feel hungry. You don't have the hunger pangs, which is fantastic. And you can eat many things. You can eat Indian, you can eat Chinese, you can eat any type of or Thai food. There's a keto way of doing any diet that you want. You just stay off the potatoes, the pasta, and the rice. So yeah, have a look at my keto books, and any donations that I get from the keto books this month, or anybody who buys me a coffee this month, will go towards the Michelle with building the posts. And I'll do a video on it once it gets done. So thank you in advance for anybody that makes a donation to Michelle. All right. To get your access back to the UK, you need to apply ordinary residence, and this is assessed by the local authority, not the Department of Work and Pensions, as the case of habitual residents. Yeah, again, but I've no intentions of going back to the UK. And it hasn't even entered my mind. I'm never ever going to go back and live in the UK. Wild horses would not drag me back to go live in the UK. The International Consortium of British Pensioners, ICBP, are fighting to unfreeze the pension. Yeah. Again, I signed the petition for that. I was one of 100,000 people, and they brought it up at the Houses of Parliament or the government, because if there's over 100,000 signatures, then they've got to mention it in the Houses of Parliament or wherever they do. And the government turned around and said, we have no future plans of altering this. It's never going to get altered. It's a 70-year-old ruling. And if it means paying out more money to pensioners who they don't like by all accounts, because of freezing the winter pension, fuel payments, stuff like that, they ain't going to alter that. I found the little loophole through all the research that I did. And it is a loophole. There's not many people who are doing it. And I want to fight that loophole, and I want to help as many other people out that I can. And if this loophole helps people out, fantastic. And I hope it does. And it should have done. And I've got to take my hat off to this guy who was the pioneer, who was one of the first people who did it. I haven't heard of anybody else doing it whatsoever, but it's been confirmed by me and several others that we should be getting our increase if we live in the Philippines for 6 months, 185 days. So fingers crossed for this guy, and hopefully I'll be making a positive video next week of saying to people, this is how you can do it. It doesn't suit everybody 100%, but it's better than nothing at all, isn't it? And let's face it, this guy stands to get over the next 10 years over £20,000. Now, isn't it better £20,000 in his pocket than the government's pocket for doing 6 months? 10 years, if you look at the bigger picture, 10 years, he's going to be over £20,000 better off at £41 a week. This is how much the government have to pay extra, £41 a week, that's all. And when you think of somebody who arrives on a plastic boat, the government pay £50,000 a year for this one gentleman that hasn't contributed anything to the system. £50,000 a year, and this guy's looking for £41 a year. Shocking. It's disgusting that the government doing this to people who paid into the system. I could get onto this. I could talk all day about that situation. What is Por Abo in Thailand and how to make a claim? Expats then. Por Abo, I don't know. I've not heard. I've heard of it, but I can't remember what it means. Going back, nevertheless, bet you picked your plot already. It's bad here. Best of luck in starting a pension challenge. You figure it out. Yeah, again, this has been going on for 6 months now. I think I made this video about 6 months ago, and I had 4 people who were ready to go and do it. And this gentleman who did it, he was the first one. He was the pioneer, if you like. And he got told 2 weeks before he went, 2 weeks before he booked his flight, yes, you will get your pension whilst you're there. He informed him as well. And the proof that he wanted, he asked him, he said, what proof do I need? When do I need to do it? How do I need to do it? And they told him, inform them when you get there. Keep your documentation as far as your hotel accommodation and things like that. We want photocopies of your stamp, your visa stamp when you go into the Philippines, when you leave the Philippines. So that proves that he'd been there for the 180, well, he actually stayed there 190 days. So he had all the proof. He sent all the proof to them, and then they turned around and said, oh, we don't think you were seriously intending to live there full time. Which is crazy, because before he booked the flight, he spoke to the Department of Work and Pensions again, and they said, yes, you will get that rate frozen. Once you leave the Philippines, it will be frozen at that new rate, and you will get that for the rest of your life. So they told him on the phone, and he'd asked him several times. They must have been sick of him and say, yeah. But now he's claimed for it. His pension was reduced back down to the old price before he went to the Philippines. And they're saying, and there's no definitive answer. There's no reason why you will not get it because of this reason. They've made up the excuses. Well, we don't think you were serious about living there full time. And my answer to that, well, why have the 185-day rule if they're going to change the rules as they're, because it states there in black and white 183 days, but I always say 185 days because if you arrive there at 1 o'clock in the afternoon, they might say, it's not a full day. So 185 days was the ruling that if you stayed there 185 days, you were going to get the rise. And I was told that, and that's why I did several videos of it. And other people emailed me and said, we've spoke to the Department of Work and Pensions, and they said you're wrong. So I've spent hours and hours talking to the various people at the Department of Work and Pensions, and eventually when you get to the top person, the normal everyday people who deal with pensions have no idea. It's the people who are in charge, the managers, the supervisors who have the answers. It's them that sing by that same hymn sheet. And it was eventually, if you get through, because sometimes they don't, I haven't got that facility to pass you to the person. I said, well, who's your supervisor? Well, I can't pass you to that supervisor. Well, why can't you? Well, I don't have the facility to do it. I've got all them conversations taped, and they will come out in a video shortly. So I fight for the guys, for the normal working guys and girls, for regard to receiving your pensions that you should be getting. It's crazy, isn't it? But they don't want to pay, is the long and short of it. Labour will never beat the government, sadly. I know. You'll never beat the government, but we try. If you don't try, then you're never going to win anyway. And according to all the documentations and the research that are done, we should be getting the money. When I'm saying we, the people that I'm fighting for should be getting the money. I don't claim my pension until next year anyway. So it's just for people who haven't, we've 5 years, the pension has gone up 23% over a 5-year period. So it's worth a 25% increase on your pension to do. This is what the only reason why I did the videos, because there's a 10.7 rise and an 8.7% rise, and with the odd 1 or 3 or 4% over 5 years, that's a 23% pay rise, and it's worth jumping through the hoops for a 23% pay rise, and that's what they don't want to pay you. Jeremy Corbyn was a founder member of the APPG, Stop Frozen Pensions. He put in the Labour Party manifesto of the 2019. Keir got rid of the, and then they've just looked at everything that you need to pay money. If they can get out paying you money, in fact, funny enough, the Americans are looking at the same system. The Americans are looking at the system about freezing your pensions if and that includes your American 401, is that you won't get the increase. So the Americans are looking at that system as well, because the Americans don't want to pay you the money if they can avoid it. So the Americans are looking at our British system, that if you don't live in the reciprocal tax country, then they're going to freeze your pensions. Just think how much the Americans would save with the 401s. It's eye-wateringly. But they're going to look at that as well, because again, the Americans are looking in at saving money, and their attitude to that is that your 401 is to help support you living in America, spending the money in America, not in some foreign countries. So that's why they're looking at that system as well. Poor or bar is the government mandatory vehicle ensure that they give you discount to display for. You've still lost me there. You've still lost me there. How long was it? 1 hour, 57 minutes. So, okay, has anybody got any questions? Any questions that anybody wants to ask? This is your opportunity to ask any questions. Or again, if you want, you can send me an email if you've got any questions. And I also do a consultation session for $10. So anybody that wants, I've done this several times, and for $10 you can ask whatever information that you want, and it's a WhatsApp face-to-face talk, so you can ask any questions, and I'll give you and tell you how it is. Sometimes people have to be a bit realistic about living here in Thailand. It's a cheap country to live in, yes, but it's not free, and it's not cheap. But you can live here on £1,000 a month. Is it the perfect life? It's probably the better lifestyle that you get than living in the UK. And but you still need money here, and you need to have information on how you get your visas, medical insurance, and stuff like that. But I think the sweet spot here is about £1,500 or $2,000. You can live a comfortable, because that's where I live on here, is about £1,400, £1,500 a month. I live a good lifestyle here on that amount of money, and we have a good lifestyle. So £1,500 is probably the sweet spot. £1,000 a month, it is doable and it is possible, and you probably live a better lifestyle here than you would do in the UK. So it can be done. So again, I've helped a few people relocate over here, point them in the right direction, if you like, and give them advice that some people don't know. I've lived here for 13 years. So for $10, you can have a face-to-face conversation with me, and I'll tell you whatever answers that you want to know. And if you don't get the answers, then you don't pay the $10. It's just as simple as that. And whether the conversation lasts for an hour or 3 hours, it's still the same $10. And it's that information, again, like the guy that I was helping out today, you know, visa agents, how to buy a motorbike, what to look out for, you know, what paperwork required. And, you know, that information is not always available to people. But I've been there, seen it, done it, got the t-shirt because I've lived here for so long, and I help so many people with regard to that. And that's just saves so much running around if you've got the horse's mouth that you can ask, if you like. So I do that service for $10, which is cheap as chips, isn't it? So, some other YouTubers charge £45 for a 30-minute conversation, and they give the same information that I give for $10. And for your £45, you've got to pay that up front, schedule an appointment, 30 minutes. After 30 minutes, it's gone. Or you can pay another 45 quid for another 30 minutes conversation. So, yeah. So, again, I've got some ebooks here as well. And that's all about relocating to Thailand. So have a look at them. You know, if you don't want to buy me a cup of coffee, at least spend $3, buy an ebook on relocating to Thailand. You know, I've got many ebooks on there, full of information and things to look out for visas and stuff like that. I'm a mind of knowledge, so, you know, I don't mind sharing the knowledge. And my channel is always going to be free. I don't have Patreons. I don't have a private member site type of thing. The information that you get is the information that you get. And I think that's the best way to do it, in my mind anyway. So let's have a look on that. Les, when you get your pension next year, will that be at the new rate or at the rate that you left? No, that'll be the new rate, because it's only frozen at the rate when you draw it. So for every year that I've lived here now, I've lived out of the UK for 15 years now. In fact, 15 years I've left the UK a month ago. I retired 15 years ago next month. And I left the UK in September 2010. 15 years I've been left. So no, I've got all them pension rises because it's only frozen at the rate. So next year, October, it'll be frozen at 2026's increase. And then that'll be frozen for the rest of the time unless I do the Philippines trip. Would I do the Philippines trip? Now, there's a couple of ways we're looking upon it. I get a private pension as well, or Fibergate pension, which is index linked every year. So I get a rise every year with regard to that. So I know I'm going to get a rise in my Fibergate pension every year. So on average, if you say the pension, it's a minimum of 2.5%. So let's round it up to 3% because it might be swings and roundabout. So let's say 3%. So for 4 years, that's 12% pay rise. So 12% pay rise after 4 years, I'll be 70 then, just over 70. Do I want to go and live in the Philippines for 6 months for a 12% pay rise? I probably would say yes, because it's 12%. And 12%, it'll be about 80 quid a month, something like that. So is it worth £80 a month, £800 a year, 10 years, 8,000 or so? I don't know. I'll see what it is. But again, it is possible that I may do it. But it's just the situation happened that there was a 24% pay increase for pensioners over the past 5 years. So 24% for 4 or 5 years is a huge amount compared to 12%. It's double that amount of money. So will inflation go back up to 10 or 11%? I doubt very much. So I just think that was an anomaly, and that's why it's worth doing, because the pensions over a 5-year period has risen by 23% as opposed to 15%. So there is a big difference in there. So yeah, that's just the way it is. I would consider doing it, but yeah, my pension is going to be paid at 2026. It'll be at that rate, and I believe because we were opted out in the fire service, so I don't get the full pension. I think it's about £700 a month, so I will never ever get the full pension. I paid me 35 years income, I've been offered at £890 a year to top it up so I get the full pension. But what's the point of me doing that? No, I've saved me £870 a year, so I get whatever I get, because at the minute, because I get my private pension, I'd be taxed on that anyway. So £890, I did the figures, and it doesn't work out by the time because we're going to be taxed on our pensions anyway from next year. So why pay that extra money to get the full top-up amount for it to be taxed by 20% anyway? So no, I did the figures, paid me 35 years, so I get whatever I get. And it's about £700 a month I'll get, and then I'll get taxed on that. So let's say I'll come out with about 550, 600 quid a month. Better in my pocket than the government's pocket, and I'll live with that. That's just holiday money. Les, when you get your pension next year, will that be yeah, it'll be that next year's rate. How long till heavy rains come? Today it looks okay. Yeah, it looks okay. I mean, we had a bit of a storm this morning, bit of rain this morning. The heavy rains will start coming next month. Up in Isan already, they've had some very, very severe rain. Me wife's parents, the road going up to their farm is all flooded, it's all underwater, all the fields are underwater. That's because it rained very, very heavily yesterday for 3 hours, non-stop, very, very severe rain. So that's just the way it goes. I don't mind the rain, really. I say we live by the coast anyway. But as I say, we had grey clouds, as you can see there now. It's blue skies, patchy, and it only rains for an hour or 2 hours or something like that. It's very, very rare that you get all-day greyness like you do in the UK. When I went back to the UK for 3 months, my first 12 days, the sun never came out because it was grey skies. Last year, that was crazy. Our bar is a mandatory government vehicle insurance. Once you got it, they give you a paper disc to display in your windscreen or display holder. Yeah, that's mandatory. It's about 600 baht for compulsory insurance. Even if you buy first class insurance, you still need the compulsory insurance as well, and that's for both motorbikes and cars. So yeah, I understand what you're saying now, Isan man. I understand that, because you can't get your tax unless you've got the basic insurance. So my car insurance cost me 6,000, just over 6,000 a year, and 600 baht of that is the compulsory insurance. Now I could just insure the car for 600 baht, and it'd be, if I had an accident with it, I wouldn't get any cover to replace the car, something like that. But that's 6,000 baht a year to insure a car for 300,000 baht, and that's fully comprehensive. And over here, there's a bail bond as well, where there isn't in the UK. So if you get sent to jail because you've had an accident, your bail money is provided, and that gets you out of prison. How has the popularity of Thai food and bar girls culture influenced the experience of UK tourists in Thailand? Well, it's like everybody else. Everybody else comes to Thailand for the Thai food and the experiences, and that's not just UK tourists, but everybody. I've got to say it's on the positive side, and I like it. I like the Thai food. I like the Thai culture. I like the Thai people. It's friendly, happy, safe, which wipes the floor at various places now in the UK. Les, I think you need to be very cautious banging the drum with government over pensions increase. This lot is running the show and more likely to stop it completely if you're out. No, I understand what you're saying. I mean, you can get put in jail for hurty words, can't you? But no, I'm only bringing up what is. They can't stop your pensions. It's impossible. It's a government thing. No matter what you do, they can't stop your pensions. But I'm banging on the drum because I'm trying to help those other people. I mean, £41. Could I live without £41 a week? Yes, I can. For some people, £41 a week is a lot to them. And this guy it was a lot to him, £41. And there's another guy that I know, and I think he just gets over 120, £130 a month extra. And for him, that's worth doing it for 100 odd pounds a month. So some people's dependency on this money is more important than others. I could do without it personally, because it £41 a week, although it'd be welcome, I can do without it. But some other people are in a different financial position than me. So I'm banging the drum for the people who should be paid it. And if there's a way around doing it, I mean, let's face it, we'd all love another £40 or £50 a month, a week, I should say, over £200 a month. It's worth jumping through a few hoops if you can get it. But if you don't know what hoops to jump through in the first place, then, they're not going to tell you. It's a lot of hard research that I did, and a lot of banging the drums and phone calls, hours and hours of phone calls to the Department of Work and Pensions to get to the position where I put it on the video. And the video that I've done with regard to the loophole with the living in the Philippines to get your pension rise is 100% correct. But at the minute, the government are trying to, dissuade people from doing it, if you like. And I just want to persuade people to do it if they can do it. And I think by this guy, he will be the precedent that other people can use. I'm not going to give out his name or who he was or how old he was, anything like that. So he's protected from the government saying, it's because of you, you've done. I'll open the floodgates myself. And if I could open the floodgates, and I don't mind getting the flack from the government type of thing, what can they do to me? I'm actually using their rules. It's their rules, so I'm not flouting the law or anything. I'm doing what it should be available to do. But many people don't know about the rules. And it's only because I've looked into it and I've discovered that this little loophole that you can get. And like the lady said to us, she said, this is how the rule is at the minute. She said, it may change in time. So yes, they may change that loophole, but they have to give written communication as to why they refuse to pay you. And but why do they have to give you written to tell you the reason why they aren't paying you? Because at the minute they haven't said yes, you can get the money, or no, they won't put it in writing. So it's all by word of mouth. So at the end of the day, there's got to be one person in charge that says yes or says no. But that one person has to be responsible. I mean, I'll take it further. I'll go to some pensions lawyer, but I don't want to spend the money because it'll cost me like £200 or £300 to do this. But if I have to do a campaign like that, I'll do a fund me. And I'm sure there'll be plenty of people who will fund me to be able to fight on their behalf. Because let's face it, it's cheaper for one person to fight the system than like 20 or 30 people. And we'll go through a pensions lawyer and be able to do it and get it in writing and get it 100% satisfied. But hopefully I don't have to go down that route. But if I have to go down that route, I will go down that route because I feel so strongly about it. The fact that, other people who are coming into our country are put above everybody else, and why shouldn't us pensioners get what we deserve? Anyway, that's my little soapbox, and I will fight the system if I need to fight. So it isn't a done deal yet. I haven't been told to shut up. I haven't been given a fresh place next to Tommy Robinson. Yeah. The state pension is a benefit, not an entitlement. Remember that. Yeah. They changed the name of it, haven't they? They can cut it if they wanted, and political sentiment swung in that direction. Be careful. Yeah, I understand what you're saying. And it also is going to be means tested. This is what they're bringing into, they're going to be means tested. But I think I'd come under the grandfather rule. Is that they have to give a certain amount of time and notice to do this type of thing. And as I'm so close to my pension, I can't see them doing anything to alter that at the minute, especially with the political landscape that's going on. Is that everybody hates the government, hates. It's the worst government that's ever been in power. So to do something like that at the minute, it would be just suicide for them to do it, wouldn't it? So I think, us old people, the baby boomers, the people born in the 50s and 60s, pension wise, I think they're going to be covered. It's the people in the future, I think, it's going to struggle, and the government will make them work until the 68. Well, already they're implementing it to 68, up to 70 years old, which is scandalous. I bought a lodge here at home, so I'm going to do 5 or 6 months in Thailand and the summer here. Very good. No taxes for me. Thank you very much. And get incremental pension. Yeah, very good. If you can afford to do that, fantastic. Good for you. It's good to have a plan, and may you enjoy 6 months and 6 months for as long as you can. Les, I forgot who said it was the only things in life that care certain are death and tax. Yeah, death and taxes, 100%. I'm paying me tax. I don't mind paying me tax. It's when they stop giving me the amount of money or the others that they should be getting. Right, PORA is limited, and if you got no private insurance for a car, truck, you could end up with huge bills. But yeah, again, it's a certain amount of money. But again, if you're foreign over here in Thailand, you will end up paying anyway. Even if the accident isn't your fault and the Thai person isn't insured, the law bends towards that it's going to be our fault, even if it isn't. That's just another one of them situations that happens here in Thailand. But the Thais have a logic on it, and actually you can't really argue with the logic. And the logic of this is how it was explained to me, and I'm thinking, yeah, there's some truth in that. If you have an accident, right, and let's say you're a tourist and you have an accident, because you're a tourist and you're here, if you weren't here, then the accident would never have happened. So by the fact that you're a tourist and you're here, you were in the wrong time, wrong place at the wrong time, and the accident occurred. So therefore, it must be your fault, because if you weren't here, the accident would never have happened. And that's correct, isn't it? So it's only because you're here, the accident happened. And if you weren't here, the accident would never have happened. And there's some truth in that. So that's why there's sort of a bit of a, well, you can't really argue with that, can you? So 9 times out of 10, now everybody that I've known that's had an accident, and thankfully it's not many foreigners who've had an accident and told me the story, but everybody that's told me the story, it's they've had to pay their insurance, even if it wasn't their fault for the accident. Because sometimes if you hit a motorbike or a motorbike hits you, they're not insured. Same with the car, they might have had a few beers, but the Thais are always going to, side with the Thai people, and you're more likely to have first-class insurance anyway, because as a foreigner, it's just one of them things. It's just like, yeah, okay. When all said and done, insurance is cheap over here anyway. So even if you have an accident and the full claim comes against you, it might put it up a little bit, but it's not going to be a lot. That on the accident is wrong if you are an expat. Yeah, it's always your fault. The state is a benefit, but it is a contribution-based benefit. National insurance contributions are that, not taxes. The NI fund is not available for general expenditure. Yeah, there's lots of arguments. They will bend the law to how they want it to fit. Would 1 million baht a year be enough? Yes, I would say that's roughly about £20,000 a year. Yes, I live on less than that amount of money every year, and for me, I have a good lifestyle. But hello, but my lifestyle, I live in a semi-rural location. The house that I live in is a beautiful house. We live about 8 minutes drive from the beach. We eat out, eat in. I think I have a good lifestyle, and that's on 65,000 baht a month now. And next year when I get my pension, I'll be on 100,000 baht a month. So that's 1.2 million, and we'll have a fantastic lifestyle on that. We'll have a fantastic lifestyle, 100,000, over 100,000 baht a month. So we're going to do a lot of traveling. And I've got to say, for the first time in my whole life, I've sort of never had to worry about money, about paying for everything. Our electricity bill is less than a tenner a month. Our water bill is about a fiver a month. We eat out whenever we want. We go shopping when we want. We drive around in a nice car. I've never been financially this well off in the UK, even though I was working 4 or 5 jobs. So it can be done over here. The lifestyle over here, you can have a fantastic lifestyle. I mean, this house over here, you could rent something like that in the area that I live for 15,000 baht a month. I mean, this isn't for rent, this one, but an average on a land like this in the area. I mean, look at it. It's stunningly beautiful here. Really, really, really is nice. 15,000 baht a month you could live here in a house fully furnished. And like 8 minutes drive from the beach, 15 minutes drive away from Lotus for your shopping and macro. It's just, you know, I always dreamed when I was growing up in the UK that I'd like to live in the countryside. But to live in the countryside now, it's just like, wow, I couldn't afford it. To do it in the UK because everything else is expensive. Rayong, he is a good one. I live in Rayong in Thailand. It's not on the tourist map. There's only Koh Samet, which is on the tourist part, but that's in Rayong. And the look upon Rayong as industrial and chemical, and yes, it is. And somebody said to me, you can't be living the dream living in like an industrial location such as Rayong. And he said it's just like Billingham. You know, living in Billingham, you're very close to all the industrial and chemical works. Billingham is a town in the UK, and it's surrounded by chemical and industry. But yes, Rayong is renowned for the chemical industry and also the, you know, industrial part of it. But where I live is actually 60 kilometers away from the industrial side of it. So 60 kilometers, is that close to living in an industrial chemical area? No, it isn't. It's you know, 60 odd kilometers away from it. And there is a bit of a chemical works at the beginning of Rayong, which is only about 40 kilometers away. But we're still 40 kilometers away from an industrial area. We have some beautiful beaches here. We have some beautiful restaurants here. Living here, you can't even see the industrial part of it. But yeah, there are parts of Rayong, Ban Chang especially, which is surrounded by the chemical industry. But that's what makes Rayong a financial hotspot, really, because there's a lot of employed people who live here in Rayong, and the chemical and the industrial and the gas works, you know, help pay for all of that lot. It is quite an affluential area. So, you know, some people have looked, oh, I don't want to live there. It's all industrial and chemical. There are nice parts. It's like everywhere. There's nice parts no matter where you live in the world. So Rayong, give Rayong a look. And there's a few people I've showed around are quite impressed when you know. And I've took them around various parts of where we live and they think, oh, it's beautiful here. And it is. I came to Rayong 12 years ago. About 10 years or so ago for a 2-week holiday. And I've been here for 12 years for a 2-week holiday. And Rayong wasn't on my map to have a look. Delivery boy? Oh, it's a small one. So, well, mine's going to be more expensive that when that comes. 360 baht for a small package. There you go. 360 baht for that. I don't know what's in there, but my wife, TikTok and Shopee. I've ordered something from Lazada today. Now we've spent a lot of time in our garden and we put gravel and the weed sheets on top to stop the weeds from growing up, because we do a lot of holidays and we go around all over the place, and the weeds have a bit of water and they're just like whoosh, they're up there. But by putting the weed shield down and the gravel on top, the weeds just come out so easily now. So that's stopped a lot of work in our garden. Now we have a section at the back of the house that I'm going to build a man cave, and it's about 3 meters by 6 meters. But I'm just waiting to get I'm going to buy a welder and I'm going to do it myself. But the total cost of it is about 200,000 baht. So I'm going to put that on hold for a year. So we need to. It's a little bit of where all the weeds grow type of thing. My wife had to grow on the plants there during the situation where everybody was sick. So she had her own plants there because it was shaded area. I have me solar panels on the top of there now. But what I'm going to do is we bought some fake grass, and we're going to get rid of all the weeds, and by putting the fake grass and the weed killer down there, it's going to look green all the time. And there's another guy that I follow, Bad Badger, and he lives down in Phuket area with his wife Lisa, and he's done a tiki bar, and I quite like his tiki bar. So have a look at Bad Badger down in Phuket. He's another nice guy, English guy, and I'm going to sort of do a version of his tiki bar, but with having the grass, and I'm going to make some tables and chairs and stuff like that, and it's just another little seating area. But then that's all the garden all sorted out. I'm a DIYer. I like doing jobs, and we've certainly done all the jobs around the house. And my little man cave, I'll put that on hold because, I mean, that's 200,000 baht. It's a lot of money to spend. That on the accident is wrong if you are an expat. Well, yeah, but you can argue about that, and the police are always going to side on the side of the Thai people. Would 1 million baht a year be enough? Yeah, that's enough. Good to know. I wouldn't be in Bangkok, would be around 45 1 hour out. So similar to pricing around. I mean, Bangkok, even in the center of Bangkok, you can get some reasonably priced condos. Kids riding push bikes around the village in the background. You don't see that much in the UK. Yeah, they're always friendly. They always say hello. The mum has an electric scooter, so and they always shout hello. It's friendly. Everybody here is friendly. It's just nice, and like happiness and people laughing and joking. You know, I remember as a kid playing out in the back alley in the streets type of thing. It was like normal. Where now they don't like people playing out in the streets because, you know, of what could happen to them. Who pays what on whose insurance is sorted between the insurance companies or the insurance company and those who only have the government or no insurance and the police. Yeah, it starts off with the police and then the police steer it to the direction that they want it to happen in the end of the day. Yeah, Shopee or TikTok or Lazada. Lazada's fantastic. Again, we almost have deliveries every week from Lazada. I love Lazada. It's brilliant. Steve, that's plenty. Yeah, I guess that's the 1 million baht. Yeah, 1 million baht a year is enough. No problems whatsoever. Let's have a look at this. So if anybody's got any questions to ask me and they want, just send me an email and ask whatever questions you want. And if I have the answers, I can give you the answers. I sort of spent an hour a day going through I always answer all the comments and things like that, and the emails. Usually, and I have this thing that if you take time to write to me, a comment to me, then it's deserved of an answer. And there's some silly people who write some stupid questions and they just get deleted anyway. So, but it's like everything else. If you put your head above the parapet, especially on YouTube, that's why everything that I say is honest and truthful, and nobody can, vilify me for giving duff information, because all the information that I give is open and honest and reliable. And if I send anybody to the right locations, then it's with honesty, and I don't get any kickbacks from anything or anybody. And because I don't get any kickbacks, I can be honest and, truthful in what I ever say. And I would never ever send anybody to a destination or an agent or give anybody any bad advice. Listen, who owns the house behind? Okay, well, there's a story about that. I'll tell you that. We've been here for about 8 years, and what we heard, and this is from our landlady, Swadika. So what we got told by the landlady, it belongs to a German guy who owns the house, but he hasn't been here as long as we've been here. And he had a caretaker who looked after the house, swept it up and, cleaned, make sure the garden, and basically took care of him whilst he's over in Germany. She had an argument with a boyfriend or a husband, and they split up. So now she lives in that house, but she works every day, but she still takes care of the house. She's very quiet and reserved, and she says very, very little. She's up at work 5 o'clock every morning. She comes in about 5 or 6 o'clock in the evening. She does this bit of sweeping up and stuff, tidying up, and I think that's what she gets rent-free for just looking after the house. She pays all the electricity and the water rates. But again, it belongs to a German guy, and I've never ever seen him here. But it's a beautiful house, and it's got quite a bit of land to it as well. So it takes a bit of upkeep. Lazada is going down in Vietnam. Shopee is growing. I mean, Lazada is brilliant. It really is good. Need to factor inflation for years ahead. 1 million baht might be enough now, but in 20 years time it's likely what. Yeah, but your pension goes up with inflation every year. Your investments go up. So yeah, inflation, that's just taken, that's all you're going to get is 1 million baht a year without it going up. Yeah, again, in inflation, people say to me, oh, you're going to lose a lot of money because of inflation. But if inflation here is 5%, and everything's cheap here, isn't it, in Thailand? Petrol's cheap, food's cheap, accommodation's cheap. So 5% of a little isn't a lot. But on the same petrol and rental costs, if it goes up 5%, like 5% of a lot, it's a lot. So the inflation, if we get inflation of 5% on our income back in the UK, it's still a better deal. So you're still going to win off better, because 5% of your salary is going to be a lot more than 5% if the Thai's got a 5% pay rise over here. So for me, it just balances itself out, and we're always going to be better off because our salaries are far better in the Western countries than they are in Thailand. So 1 million baht, it's still going to be worth a lot more money than it is if you had 1 million baht, £20,000 a year, say in the UK or America. It depreciates a lot more in America than it would do in here in Thailand. Les, compared to your videos when you were back in the UK a few months ago, you look about 20 years younger. I feel 20 years younger as well. and it's true. So many people have said that, and thanks for repeating that. It was grim up north. When I went back to the UK, I don't really want to go back to the UK. It was a sad reason that I went back to the UK in the first place, because my sister was diagnosed with lung cancer. Thankfully, she looks as if she's on the mend with that. She's had half a lung taken out. But who knows? Cancer is cancer, and it can return back at any time, can't it? So I went back there for 3 months, and okay, it was sad that I went back to the situation with my sister having cancer. But just looking around, it's all depressive. It's all bad news, the crime, the cost of living. Many people said to me, you complain how much it is for a coffee, you complain how much it is for this. I mean, £28 it cost us for 3 cups of coffee and 2 breakfasts. 28 quid. We took the kids out for a day to as like a petting zoo. 80 quid to take the kids out for a day. 80 quid. Petrol, petrol was, she had a Corsa, top of the range Corsa, and I put 20 quid worth of petrol and never even filled half a tank for 20 quid. For 20 quid, my car's full, brimming for 20 quid. And in her car, it never even got to like just over a quarter of a tank. So, yes, it is so affordable. And I think that's the shock that most people come over here, is that they don't realise how cheap it is until you live over here. You don't have to worry about the bill. When 4 of us went to the river for Ploy's birthday, 4 of us ate the meal and we were full. You seen how much food was left on the table after we finished, and that was 480 baht. Like 11 quid. 11 quid for 4 of us. Food and eating out here is incredibly cheap. Like, that house there, 15,000 baht, roughly how much you could pay to live in a house like that. That's about 350 quid. Where could you get in the UK a house for £350 a month? Even in the scummiest areas, you pay more than £350 a month. Ugh. So yeah, I feel 20 years younger also. I sit over there. The sun comes up over there in the morning, 7 o'clock, 6:30, 7 o'clock. I'm sat here on the sofa, drink my cup of coffee as the sun comes up, and I love it every single day. It's beautiful. Warm. I mean, you can see the clouds now. There's a few little rain clouds coming over here. So we might have a storm tonight. Yeah, there's a little bit of rumbling and thunder in the background, but I just love it here. You just feel, because everything's affordable. You don't have to rob Peter to pay Paul. And, just going out. There was 4 of us. We went and had a look at these motorbike and sidecars today. 4 of us went out to have a look at it, and then we had lunch. And it came to 180 baht for 4 people. 4 people, 180 baht. That £103, about 4 quid. It's for nothing, isn't it? For overseas calls with the IS, I use the prefix 005 or 009, the country code and number. It's not free, but only a couple of baht a minute. Oh, that's good. I didn't know about that. That's a good bit of information, because I used to use Skype, but Skype's closed now it's been shut down this month. But Skype was always very good and very cheap to ring up telephone numbers in the UK. I'll have a look into that. Thanks very much. That's a very good bit of information. Thank you. New Zealand pensions going up to 67 years this year. Sucks. It doesn't it? It's 66 now, and it's 67 now. So I was 66 in 3 months, which is next October, is when I get my pension. So it was 65 when I joined the fire brigade. Everybody, you're going to get paid. You retire at 65-year-old, proper retirement. But then it went up to 66, and it's 67 now. So that's why I have to wait 3 more months past my 66th birthday. But whatever. Do you swim often, Les, or not a swimmer? I'm a good swimmer. I used to go scuba diving. So I am a good swimmer. I got my 2-mile certificate for swimming 2 miles when I was at school. I was 12 years old. So yeah, I am a good swimmer. I enjoy swimming. I swim in the sea here sometimes when we go to the beach, because it's just like jumping into bath water. It's beautiful. Snorkeling, we can go snorkeling. I think the longest we went snorkeling for was 2 hours, me and Ploy, when we were at Kokud. Ploy's become a better swimmer. She wasn't very good at swimming when we first met, but now we're just all over the place snorkeling. Kokud is fantastic for snorkeling, as is Koh Samet. There's a Awai beach, which is just crystal clear. Snorkeling is beautiful. So yeah, I go swimming. I don't go swimming in a swimming pool, stuff like that. If I go swimming, I go swimming in the sea. Not as often as I probably should do, but yeah, I'm a good swimmer. Gazion question on the subject of buying property and a house. I have 2 Thai sons. Would you, or do you know at what is the youngest age can they be named as owning land? I don't know about that. I have no idea. The person to ask for that is Ricky in Thailand. Now, sadly, his wife died of dengue fever. He got dengue fever, she got dengue fever, and he's got 2 young kids. I think they're just over a year or 18 months old now. So he had a house. So I believe the houses are in the kids' names, So Ricky's only in his 30s anyway. So ask him, Ricky in Nissan, and he'll tell you how he went about putting it, because the house that he built for him and his wife are in the kid's name, I believe. So he's the person to ask. He's got a new wife now, and so he's very open and honest, and he'll let you know. So Ricky in Isan or Ricky in Thailand, and he'll let you know. But personally, I don't know. 2 45-litre petrol. Oh, is that New Zealand dollar? It's about £1.60, £1.50, £1.60 in England. Over here it's 31 baht, which is about 70 pence a litre. So it's like half the price of what it is in the UK. So when I fill my car up, 1,200 baht, which is about 25 quid, fills my car up. So, people ask me how many miles to the gas. I don't look at it like that. I just fill it up because it's so cheap to fill up. And again, how many people live in the UK just put a 10 or 20 quid's worth of petrol, because to fill it up, it's probably the thick end of 100 quid. 100 quid to fill your car up with petrol. I rarely filled my van up or my car up when I was in the UK because of how much it cost to fill it up. Over here, again, we just drive around and I'll put 500 bahts worth of fuel in, which is like 11 or 12 quid, and it lasts 2 or 3 weeks. Three in the UK to a 24-hour phone pass, and it's just 7 quid. Again, I tried. Anybody? I know a couple of guys who live in the UK, and we just do Skype. I used to do Skype calls with them, but now we do WhatsApp, and WhatsApp is free, and same as Messenger. There's a few people I speak to on the internet, like my sisters for one, but we just do Messenger, and Messenger's free also. So there are ways around about it, and for the cheap phone calls, there are companies out there, but I need to do a little bit more investigating for that. I don't ring many people up. Skype was good. I had a fiver on there, and I had a fiver. Maybe 2 years that lasted me, £5, because the calls were just so ridiculously cheap. I was Department of Work and Pensions, 57 minutes I was on there, and I was down to my last £1.50 before Skype closed, and I thought I'll use this £1.50 phoning up the Department of Work and Pensions. I still had 50 pence credit, so it cost me £1 for 57 minutes talking, being on hold, listening to the lovely music of the Department of Work and Pensions. So yeah, I will get round to finding another cheap telephone, pay as you go if you like, to speak to various people in England, because I'm sure I'll have to register, I'll have to phone up the pensions department, I'll have to phone up the fire brigade pensions department in the UK next year. So yeah, I'll need to find, but it's not very often. Froggies in the universe, great stream, and thank you. No problem. Thanks very much for joining. Thanks very much for watching. If you have Line, app calls are free. Yeah, again, Line or WhatsApp. I prefer WhatsApp to Line. I just find it more easier. 58 pence per litre in Vietnam at the moment. Yeah, Vietnam is another place, to live. It's cheap, and they're making it. They're getting the Chinese tourists from Thailand, so their numbers of tourists are up, and they're actually looking at making it more easy to get a long-term visa to stay in Vietnam. a number of years ago, when the situation happened and everybody fell sick with the flu, then they chucked everybody out. So there was no real loyalty for those people who were living in Vietnam. If you were a foreigner, they could say they'd chuck you out, and that's what they used to do. But now they're going to make it more possible for people to stay in Vietnam. I'll just alter this brightness a bit, because we're getting, oh yeah, hopefully that's a little bit better, because now it's starting to cloud over. What time is it now? It is 5:43, 5:45. In less than an hour, it'll be pitch black over here. And that's the thing that some people, have to get used to. Like in England, in the summer months, it was light till 10 o'clock on the night. It's beautiful. I love that. But here, it's dark between 6 and 7 every day. And in the winter months, it's 6 o'clock, and in the summer months, it's like 6:45, something like that. So it's less than an hour difference. But the difference over here is that you can still sit outside when it's dark, because it's cool and it's okay. The only thing you have to be wary of is the mosquitoes. The mosquitoes come out at dusk and dawn. So when it gets to dusk time, which is around about now and about another 20 minutes, the mosquitoes will start coming out. But once it's dark, then you don't get bothered by the bugs. I don't get bothered by the bugs. My wife gets bitten by the mosquitoes more than I do. So they don't like me, probably because they have to bite through the fat before they get to the blood. And maybe it's healthy mosquitoes over here. I don't know, but thankfully I'm not on their wanted list, if you like. So I know I get bit by mosquitoes, because sometimes you just get itchy, and if you've got itchy skin, the mosquitoes have been biting. But on the whole, I don't suffer very badly from the mosquitoes. And it's just like taking care as well. If you've got any open water sources, there's mosquitoes like still fresh water or still water, and they'll lay the eggs. So we just have upturned the plant pots and stuff like that, so we have nowhere for the mosquitoes to lay the eggs. Scott, tourist visas are easy. E-visa for 60 days, long term are a bit harder. Yeah, I mean, again, the visa situations, it changes. I still don't know 100% whether that 60-day visa, they were talking about it, reducing it back down to 30, or they were talking about it, reducing it to the, like the Chinese or the Russians who were taking advantage and flouting the law. So, and what I heard also is that people were saying that for the Chinese and the Russians are flouting the law, so therefore they should be the ones who should be reduced to like 30 days. But then the counter argument, oh yeah, but then that's discrimination. We discriminate the Russians and we discriminate the Chinese. Well, it's them two that are flouting the law. So why not just, instead of punishing everybody, just punish the people who are flouting the law? Well, we don't want to be accused of, not racism, but, picking on the people who are causing the problems. And I think, for me, if it's them that's causing the problems, make their lives a little bit more harsher to live over here. It's like everything else. It's a few people that spoil it for everybody. And at the minute, it's the Chinese and the Russians are spoiling it for everybody. In Vietnam, it's so great. Why are only 5% return visitors while Thailand 60%? Let's have a look. If Vietnam is so great, why are only 5% return visitors while Thailand is 60%? Well, I would put Vietnam on par with Thailand. I like Vietnam. We are going to go back to Vietnam. I travelled the whole from the south to the north of Vietnam and loved every minute of being in Vietnam. And if it wasn't for the fact that it was more difficult to live in Vietnam because you couldn't get the visas, that's why I picked Thailand, because it was much easier to stay here. And English is probably spoken a little bit better than it is in Vietnam. But Vietnam is stunningly beautiful and it's cheap. Maybe they're trying to rip you off a bit more than they do here in Thailand. But I would live in Vietnam in a heartbeat, no problem. The food's lovely, the people are lovely, the scenery is fantastic. It's cheap to live there as well. And now that they're doing some things with the retirement visa, making it more easy for people to retire there, Vietnam might be the leader against Thailand. And if Thailand sees any more tourists going to Vietnam, hopefully for the better, Thailand might up their ante and say, well, okay, we still want people to come here and make it more attractive than Vietnam, because Thailand has got some very, very good people in opposition, like Cambodia, maybe it's not so much, but Laos, stunningly beautiful, and Vietnam, they are the opposition. And if they just turn a blind eye, think, oh, people like Thailand, I think the sheen has gone off Thailand to the Chinese, because there's lots of Chinese have been injured and hurt through accidents and things like that. And the feeling towards the Chinese at the minute, because of that building collapse, isn't very good. And the fact that the Chinese are cheeky and that, they're sort of bending the rules. Yeah, that all plays a part, doesn't it? Long-term visas are harder to get in Vietnam. Lots of rip-offs, bad immigration at the airport. I always found it very helpful. I mean, okay, I've been to Vietnam a few times, and I always found it quite okay, and I was never being angry. Ripped off, yeah, you get ripped off. Taxi drivers, when you get off the train at 4 o'clock in the morning, going back to your hotel, can charge like 10 times more than what you'd normally pay. But you just learn your lesson. The next time that we're going to do that, if not next year, the year after, we'll book a hotel which is right next to the railway station. So when we get off at the railway station, we can walk to the hotel. The hotel was only 2 miles away from the railway station, but we paid 10 times more than the fare would have cost normally. But that's just a little learning curve, and life is full of little learning curves that you learn where you're getting ripped off and how can you avoid getting ripped off again. And that's the thing that I would say to people. If you're going to do the Sapper run, because you get back at 4 o'clock in the morning, the train drops you off there, you are the cash cow, and the taxi drivers will rip you off for as much as they can. But a lesson learned, and I'll never do that again. It's getting better with Grab. Yeah, I mean, where we are, Grab and Bolt taxis, because we live in a semi-rural location, you can't get Grab or Bolt. So if we go out drinking, with a group of friends type of thing, what we do, we will rent a cheap hotel next to the venue or very close to the venue where we're going. And because you can rent a room for about 800 to 1,000 baht a night. And many people said, well, why don't you catch a taxi to the venue and a taxi back? It'd be more expensive to try and catch a taxi to the venue where we're going to go, if it's in Rayong, Ban Phe or Melonpun Beach. Melonpun Beach is about 30 kilometers away from where we are. So it costs maybe 300 or 400 baht for a taxi then, and maybe 3 or 4. So there's 600 or 700 baht. So a hotel is only between 700 and 1,000 baht. So we'll go and have a few drinks, because I don't drink and drive. We'll go and have a few drinks, park the car up. I can have whatever I want to drink and stay in a cheap hotel, and it's just as cheap as getting a taxi. But if you live in Bangkok and Pattaya and Hua Hin, stuff like that, Grab and Bolt are just fantastic. So cheap, cheaper than the normal taxis. Just the location, you just need to find, how the system works in your local location. It's like here where I live. I tell everybody, I live in a semi-rural location. You need a motorbike or a car, 100%. You will not get a Grab or a taxi at like 8 to 10 o'clock on a night to get back home here. You need transport to get to do your shopping. So if you want to live in a semi-rural location, you need transport. And that's cheap. A motorbike over here, because we went looking at brand new motorbikes the other day for this guy that was thinking about buying a new or a second-hand motorbike, 70,000 baht for a brand new Honda Click 160 with ABS, 70,000 baht. Cheap as chips. And he's paying 200 baht a day, so 6,000 baht a month he's paying. to rent an old PCX, and he's getting it for 200 baht a day because he's booked it for a month at a time. So 6,000 baht a month to rent a motorbike when you could buy a brand spanking new one for 70,000. So just do the maths. It's much easier and much simpler to buy a brand spanking new motorbike, you know, a year and a half, and you've got your money back compared to rental. Has anybody been to Colombia or Argentina? What's it like? I've never been there. It really wasn't on my list when I went around the world to travel. But like, I watched this video today, top 10 cheapest places to retire to, and Ecuador, Mexico, Malaysia, Vietnam, Thailand, and Portugal, and Spain. I don't think that's 10, but that's the ones I can remember. And I never even looked at Ecuador or Mexico, you know, and but Thailand came out number 2. Portugal is still number 1, but Thailand still came out number 2. Malaysia, I think, about 3 or 4. Now, Malaysia is a stunningly beautiful country as well, and so cheap to live there as well. But we're going to go to Malaysia next year. We're going to do the train from Bangkok to Kuala Lumpur, and it's £61. And the train journey takes 21 hours, but it's a sleeper train, so you sleep overnight as well. £61 each for a one-way ticket to Kuala Lumpur from Bangkok. 21 hours on a train. I'm really looking forward to that. And then we're going to go to Penang. So we'll be away for a month. And that's what my state pensions are going to do for me. That's my travel money. That's my enjoyment money. It's not going to be used for anything else apart from enjoying and traveling. So I will be doing a lot more travel. So it'll be a travel vlog as opposed to like, no, I mean, my vlogs that I do is like everyday living, and that's where I help people out doing everyday living. Better to get a digital nomad visa, I think. Yeah, I mean that's like a 5-year visa, but that you know, there's a loophole with every visa that you need. Not sure I can always do a visa, right? Ecuador is superb, mate. Again, never been to Ecuador. I've visited many places on my round the world trip. It was a 12-month ticket, and I went to New York, Las Vegas, then I flew over to Hawaii, then from Hawaii to Fiji to New Zealand, did both North and South Island, from New Zealand to Australia, then from Australia to Thailand, from Thailand to India to the UK. And we had little trips to Bali, we had little trips to, where else did we go? Can't think where else. I think that was about it. But yeah, I mean, around the world ticket was £1,800. Fantastic. Oh, Singapore, we went to Singapore as well, which was good. Singapore, stunningly beautiful country, very small country, a long weekend, and you've seen everything, but spotlessly clean, really nice. But I just like me travel. I do like different places. And again, as I say, I'm fortunate and lucky that I can use my state pension to be able to travel around a bit, and that's what I intend to do before I get too old to do it. What's the visa run, Dave? Yeah, for some people, if they want to live in this country, you get a tourist visa. Then your tourist visa, let's say you get a 60 day, as it was, or as it still is now, you get 60 days, and then you can extend that for another 30 days in the country. So you get 90 days. So then you have to leave the country. It's what's called the border run. So you leave the country, you go to the Cambodian border, you walk through the immigration, they stamp you out of the country, and then you walk back around to the Thailand inwards. So then they stamp your passport. So that's your in and out. That's what your visa run is. Apparently that's going to be a little bit more difficult now, especially with these TM6 cards, because you've got to fill one of them in before you come back into the country. And so this may alter them visa runs. So instead of doing it in the same day, you might have to stay in Cambodia or Vietnam or Laos, wherever you go, for one night and then come back the following day, because according to Tim Newton, TMT, which is good for news and up-to-date things in Thailand, because when you're filling the card in, the card still says you are still in Thailand, because the computer doesn't work fast enough to say that you're logged out to log back in again. I'm sure the agents will have ways around this system, but that's the last thing that I heard. But yeah, the visa run where you leave the country and you come back in, you're only allowed to do 2 of them in a single year. Once you do your third one, they could refuse your entry back into the country, because they say then you're just misusing the visas. Is why they're saying about the 60-day visa, why they're going to reduce it, because you get 90 days and then you have to leave the country, come back 90 days, and people are abusing that system. I should be going to Borneo, Malaysia again next. Yeah, Borneo again, just to see the orangutans. I fancy going to Borneo just to see the orangutans. That's all I want to go to Borneo for, because they're such beautiful, gentle creatures, and that's on my bucket list, to go and see the orangutans. But Malaysia, Kuala Lumpur, our hotel overlooked the Petronas Towers, which was it's probably one of the nicest hotels that we ever stayed in, and that was only 60 quid a night to stay in there. Stunningly beautiful, but because we were in our backpackers clothes, we felt decidedly underdressed, because everybody else had suits and jackets on and evening dresses, and we were just in our backpacker clothes. So we only stayed there 2 nights, and we moved in to somewhere that was actually even closer than the Petronas Towers. But on the night time, the whole street closed down for street food, and that was 15 quid a night, but it was still a nice hotel. And right outside the door, all the smells and all the sounds of it was just beautiful. So yeah, Kuala Lumpur is a beautiful place to go to. So anyway, that's all my water gone. My voice is a little bit sore, and it's getting a little bit dark in the background now. We're on 6 o'clock. So I think at that stage, unless anybody's got any last minute questions, I'm going to call this live stream over. We've been at it for 3 hours, and as always, it's gone by like that. And it's thank you to all of them people who come and join me on the live stream. Thank you very much for the questions and the support and the encouragement that you give me on these live streams. And I hope the information's good and helpful to everybody. And so if you haven't given me a thumbs up yet, give me a thumbs up. And for those people who aren't subscribe or consider subscribing to the channel. It's free, costs you nothing. This channel will always be free. There's no Patreons and there's no special member site, so it's always going to be free. So thanks very much, everybody. Enjoy life, and I'll see you in about a fortnight's time. So bye for now. Thanks for Leslie, you're really living the dream. Thanks very much. Goodbye. Good night, everybody.